All right, we're live. What's going on, everybody? Let me go back to the live chat to make sure we're all good. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome back to the channel. Hopefully, we've all got our fix yesterday of the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial. And as we can see, it was explosive stuff. It was explosive stuff. Depp has won, and it was exhilarating to watch. Good morning, good morning, good morning. So today we get to see the aftermath. We're going to see Elaine, who is Amber's attorney, which she's got to say on NBC this morning. That's what we're going to be looking at. We're going to look at Fox News cover the verdict, and we're going to look at how MSNBC. So we're going to look at how both sides of the political spectrum have covered it. We're going to see what Elaine is saying, and we're going to get your feelings on the verdict. So just so we can start where everyone understands what this video is about. Yesterday in a Virginia courthouse, Johnny Depp won his defamation suit. Now, he won the first three claims that he asked for a 2018 was it 2018 or 2018 op-ed in which his ex-wife Amber Heard said that she was essentially sexually assaulted by Johnny, and that she was a victim of domestic abuse. So those were really the two big issues. Did Johnny Depp abuse his ex-wife physically, or committed domestic abuse against his ex-wife? And did he sexually assault his ex-wife? So we heard testimony on both sides. We had evidence presented, and the jury found that Amber Heard not only lied about being sexually assaulted and not only lied about being a victim of domestic violence, but did so knowingly with malice, with actual malice, meaning that her lies were intentional. Essentially, they're saying she made it up. That's what the verdict was. So right now, Amber Heard was found to have made up sexual assault allegations and the abuse allegations. Now, Johnny Depp was awarded $15 million for that win, but because of Virginia state law, Johnny Depp, that $15 million judgment had to be reduced to $10.35 million. So Johnny Depp was awarded essentially $10.35 million for winning on all his claims. Now, when we talk about Johnny winning for all his claims, what we mean by that is that they essentially believe that Amber was lying about everything, right? That she was just a straight up liar. So that's Johnny Depp's win. Let's go to the other side. Amber Heard also had three claims, but only one on one. And the claim that she won on was the fact that Johnny Depp's attorney, Adam Waldman, said that Amber Heard and her friends had made up the story about the cops going in twice and blah, 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 blah. And during that story, he didn't get all of the facts right. So they said that Waldman, Johnny Depp's attorney, defamed Amber essentially at Johnny's request, and that Johnny should pay Amber $2 million in compensatory damages. But remember, that had nothing to do with actually whether Amber was being assaulted by Johnny. That was about the reporting of the incident to the police and whether it was fake or not. So at the end of the day, if you just take the $2 million that Amber won, and the $10 million that Johnny won, and you do the math, Johnny Depp is up $8 million. So essentially the jury gave him back the $7 million for divorce settlement and $1.35 million in more or less pain and suffering. Now, so now you know the full story, you know who won what and how everything goes. So going into that, Elaine Bredehoft, she now has come out the next day and went on the Today Show this morning to explain to everybody what their side feels about the story. So we're going to get right into that. Let me take down the super chat right. So Nate, keep up the great work. I hope you didn't take this the wrong way. Hope you don't take this the wrong way. You have a very unique voice and laugh, and it uplifts me every time I hear it. Oh, why would I take that the wrong way? I was like, I kept reading it because I was like, I don't know if I'm reading this right, but thank you. And I'm glad it does. This is a very, very generous super chat. Thank you. Question: if she appeals, can JD end up getting more? It all depends if the appeal's overturned or not. If they overturn an appeal, the appeals court probably is not going to up it. They may lower it, but they wouldn't up it. And then on the back end of that, if they could vacate it, send it back, and there's another jury trial, it's possible. But again, it really depends on the state rules, because some states don't allow you to get more if there's a retrial. But so it really depends. But I'm not sure. But there is a chance if she does win the appeal, we could be doing this again. $2 from Jacqueline. Elaine went on Good Morning America show and well, we're about to watch that. We are about to watch it. We're about to watch her on the Today Show. Nate the Lawyer, question: for her to respond to appeal the verdict, does she need to put the $10 million payment on bond? I don't believe so. Now, if she's appealing the verdict, then she doesn't have to put, because she doesn't have to put it in bond. I don't think she has the money to pay it, though. I don't think she has the money to pay it. So, even if there is no bond to pay, and in America, you don't go to jail for being broke. You go to jail for breaking the law, but not for being broke. So if she doesn't have any money, that's what we call judgment proof here. If you don't have the money and you can't pay, I can get $1 billion judgment for somebody, but if they don't have the money to pay, then the judgment is worthless. It's literally just a piece of paper. Do you think JD's team will try to limit what AH can say about him in public? Same thing we saw in Tasha K case with Tasha K and Cardi B. Yes, I'm assuming if she continues to make defamatory statements, then she's going to be in trouble. So, I would be advising her, don't make any more defamatory statements, because we don't want to be through this again, because, the world now knows that you're a goddamn liar. And now we're you've told another one, and we're going to, so be careful. Let me go to, now, because I've been hiding it. So this is Elaine. How do you pronounce her name? Bredehoft. But she is now going and doing the circuit. So just so everybody understands what the game is. The game is, if your side loses, you go and you do the circuit. You go out there to TV and you say, "Hey, I'm a good person. This is what happened," and to try to spin it. So this is them trying to spin it. Lisa for $99. Thank you. I have always loved the law and thought I was too old to go back. My husband and I had a long talk, and we decided, instead of me getting my PhD in my area, I will be going to law school. Oh, congratulations. Good job, Lisa. Yeah, no, that's fantastic. I had the same, just so everybody knows, I had the same thing happen with me when I started law school a little later in life. I had a career and everything. It's amazing. Do it. You'll never regret it. I'll say this. I tell people law school is crazy, but after you do it and you get that law license, when you get it, it changes your life. It's changed mine, and it changes it for the better. So, good luck to you. If you ever need anything, don't, I used to teach people. I literally was, my job was helping people get in law school. I ran a program that helped people get in law school. If you need any tips, anything, please don't be shy. Reach out. I love helping people get in law school. I'll give you all the tricks and all the tips to let you know what to do, what not to do. A lot of people don't know you can negotiate. I know this is going to law school. A lot of people don't know you can negotiate to law school. Like when I was negotiating for law school, I had somebody give me. So I had one school give me a free ride, and another school that I wanted to go to, they weren't giving me any money. So you know what you do? I sent the school that I wanted to go to. I said, "Here's an offer letter. I got 3 offers from other schools. Give me a free ride." And they and that was really that really helped, because those schools didn't up their money because they knew that about the issue. So yeah, no, it's great. Hold on, I gotta ask my editor to put that super chat on. I didn't finish reading it. There we go. Sorry, I gotta finish reading this one. And I'm truly happy you and Emily D. Baker helped me to do what I love. Thank you, Lisa. I'm so happy about this. Yes, do what you love, and please don't come back. Let us know. I am extremely excited for you, and good luck. And again, I'm a resource here for you. Don't. You are not alone. We're going to give as much knowledge, and I even have some videos and stuff. A lot of you don't realize. All right, I'm going to show you this after the video. But there's still, when I was a professor. So most of you don't remember. I was a professor at a law school. So there's a channel, right? I actually have a YouTube channel that's still up from when I was a professional law school, and you guys can see me. So some people have found it. They're like, "Oh, Nate, this is you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I was a professor at a law school," and it's me literally teaching the students and everything. And you see my class, and I'm asking me questions. It's pretty fantastic. But people now, I know everybody's going to be still looking for that video. But yeah. So there are videos up there of me actually teaching law at the law school. for my classes. So it's a fabulous thing. So yeah, thank you for that super chat. But now let me stop getting into this video. Let me play this video. And now I'll probably put the link to that to my law school, again, it's cringy though. It's cringy, but I'll put it there. So here's Elaine. Let's listen to Elaine spin this like a top.
Doing. We saw her, Amber Heard's attorney, Elaine Bredehoft. Good morning to you. It's good to see you. First question, how is Amber doing? We saw her hearing that verdict. It took a long time to read. It was a sweeping verdict for Johnny Depp. How did she handle it?
You know, one of the first things she said is, I am so sorry to all those women out there. This is a setback for all women in and outside the courtroom. And
now, I gotta say one thing. I'm sorry for stopping it so. I'm so sorry for stopping it so early. But what the hell is she talking about? This is not a setback for women. This is a setback for people who lie under oath, right? This is not a setback for women. It makes, I expected them to spin it this way, right? I expected them to spin it this way. But this is a setback not for women. This is a setback for people who lie. So Melissa B says, hi, Nate. Thanks so much for providing your insight. Keep it up. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. Oh, I got a guest. Legal Vices. What's going on?
Good morning, Chief. No, I just finished my stream, and then I was calming down, and then my blood pressure spiked again, thanks to you. So
why'd your blood pressure spike? What did I do?
You put this in front of my computer.
Well, we are into it. So she's already given us the whole, this is hurting women.
Yeah.
So we are into it. You came at the right time.
But she's rocking the Florence Henderson Mrs. Brady hairstyle today.
Oh yeah. But
That's
what? I
think Brady hair.
This is the it's interesting how they're trying to spin this as a Me Too issue, but nobody's buying it. It's like they didn't learn from court at all. That nobody's buying their junk.
Yeah.
Let me take that a couple of these super chats real quick before they pile up on me. My favorite part of yesterday was that they had to give her something, so they didn't look so one-sided and sort of satisfy her. She's still going to appeal. Of course. Yeah, they threw her a bone. What did you think about that $2 million they gave to her?
Again, it's kind of like it was discussed everywhere last night. I think that was the sticking point. There was one holdout, and that was like, okay, we'll give her something meaningless. It can be deducted or however you want to pay it off, to where she gets to say she got something. Yeah. And yeah, it was a token. It was a token offering to get the case out of the jury room.
Yes. Yeah. I think it was like, let's recognize that they both were bad in this relationship, but I think the key point to this is we have someone who actually lied about the worst possible things, and we want to make sure that is recognized. The Lance says, shouldn't it be what if any women? You guys are cold-blooded. Thank you so much for what you. Thank you, a convert. Let's continue on with this so we can hear Elaine spin it for all women. Oops, come on, Elaine.
She feels it, and she feels the burden of that.
Well, knowing the case and knowing the law, as you certainly do, it favors defendants like Amber Heard. Are you stunned that the jury essentially rejected her story?
Well, really what happened here is it's a tale of two trials. Johnny Depp brought a suit in the UK for the same case, and the burden of proof was easier for him there. The son had to actually prove that it was true, and the court found there, and we weren't allowed to tell the jury this, but the court found that Mr. Depp had committed at least 12 acts of domestic violence, including sexual violence, against Amber. So what did Depp's team learn from this? Demonize Amber and suppress the evidence. We had an enormous amount of.
What do you think about this now? Demonize Amber, suppress the evidence.
How she can even look in the camera and say that is utterly bewildering to me. It's
pretty crazy.
stunning, and how they can just live in this fantasy world and keep saying mountains of evidence and things like it. It is stunning. This is the exact opposite way of how you would want to rehabilitate someone after yesterday's beatdown.
Hell yeah. You know what? One of the pieces that if you listen to what she's saying here too, Elaine, she's trying to make it seem like we already won this case, right? We won this case, and he is so upset at us winning that he's coming back and he's doing it again. And it was easier to win. So you see all the talking points. It was easier to win in the UK. It was, it was the same evidence, and the court's already found that he is guilty. But what she fails to tell, I think, the public, and she fails to mention, is that all the evidence that came in this trial didn't go in that trial, right? The evidence of her lying, her medical records, and all this other stuff, that didn't come out. And the reason why is because Amber Heard wasn't a party to that case. So all this evidence that Johnny had for this trial, he couldn't present in that trial. So it's disingenuous of her to say it's because she's trying to make it seem like it's the same evidence. And they actually had more evidence in the UK trial, and they suppressed all the evidence in this trial that she lost. But that's the exact opposite of what happened.
You're being extraordinarily nice by saying disingenuous. That's a bald-faced lie. And Amber even said in her Twitter, was it Instagram, she posted her response on we won. No, you didn't. You didn't win anything. You weren't even there. You were a witness.
Yeah. Let's continue to listen to Elaine. I'm definitely going to get to your super chats, guys. Let's get to what Elaine is saying. What again? Her argument here is she already won in the UK with more evidence. They suppressed all the evidence here, and that's why they went. So that's the thing that she wants us to take away, which is totally bullshit.
Of evidence that was suppressed in this case, that was in the UK case. In the UK case, when it came in, Amber won, Mr. Depp lost.
But here's the thing. You were able to get some evidence that you say demonstrated abuse. You certainly had her testimony. There were pictures, documents, all kinds of evidence. But in point of fact, the jury rejected it. You argued in your closing arguments.
I got to say, the Savannah ain't letting her get away with the BS. She's like,
she's calling her on it, but she's calling on it in like a 3/4 speed pitch. She's not like a soft call, but
what I do like is that, all right, come on, let's cut through the bullshit. You presented evidence. She testified, and you still came up. It came up. Let's not place.
They came up short because she testified.
That's true. That's a good point.
That if they found even one instance of abuse, and did not even have to be physical abuse, that they would have to find for Amber Heard, and they didn't.
And the other part to bear in mind here is nothing changed. The op-ed didn't even mention Mr. Depp by name. And so So this is called relitigating the case in public, right?
Yeah.
Relitigate the case in public, right? It didn't even mention Depp. How could because it wants you, the people at home, to believe this is all injustice. It didn't even mention Mr. Depp. How we get here? I'm so innocent, right? That's what she's trying to portray.
Now is such a stupid time to be making that argument, because right now in Memesville, the popular meme is how to say your ex without saying your ex. I mean, how to say it's about Johnny Depp without saying it's about Johnny Depp.
I don't know why she's going down this route, but again, maybe Amber's still paying her, so she's still going to spin the lies.
Yeah, Amber's behind the couch with a handgun and pointed her back. Say it.
Here is demonize her. And they were able to suppress the medical records, which were very, very significant because they showed a pattern going all the way back to 2012 of Amber reporting this to her therapist, for example. We had significant.
Now, even about that, now, again, she's so relitigating this, it's starting to get ridiculous.
Yeah.
Robin, thank you for the generous super chat. Hey guys, sub from Rackets. I have been watching you for a while. Finally subscribed because of the trial. Vice says, screw the haters. We need a guy like you to stick with Rackets. You will be Be a grifter. Yes, thank you. Thank you for the generous super chat. Yes.
I'll stick wherever people will put up with my nonsense. So
Yeah, and I do want to say this, people. If you're all right, I appreciate the people who send me emails and stuff about other law tubers who they don't like, but Nick, Emily, all these people, Legal Vices, these people are my friends. And I don't care what you believe about them, what you think about them. If having someone on my show or being friends with Nick, if that upsets your sensibilities, then I'm sorry. Maybe this is not the channel for you, right? Maybe it's with me being friends with Viva, whoever, right? Uncivil, whoever. So please, I appreciate your honesty, and I appreciate, but I don't negotiate with terrorists. So if you start telling me, Nate, if you go on this person's channel, if you talk to this person, I'm going to unsub, I'll see you later. You know what I'm saying? And that's just because I've been getting some of these messages. So I just want to make it very clear. If that's your stance, take your subscription elsewhere. No disrespect to you, but we all have choices. Is that fair?
Oh, that's more than fair. I mean, I'm so young in this game. I'm keeping my nose clean any way I can at this point. But I've pretty much interacted with everybody in the group, except for like a very few, and without exception, every one of them has been amazing to me, has been kind and nice to each other. And we're adults. We have misunderstandings. We have disagreements. It's between them and them. We don't need team this person and team that person trying to stir up shit when it doesn't need to be stirred up. And so I'm just stay out of it. Anybody wants to come on my channel, they are welcome. Anybody wants to invite me, I'll go. And as long as I'm treated with respect, I treat with respect, and that's all. I don't care what happens with other people. It's not my circus, not my monkeys.
Amen to that. Let's drop off this drama and get back to this drama.
Amount of texts, including from Mr. Depp's assistants, saying, when I told him he kicked you, he cried.
Now, one thing, though, I do like this. I do like what she's doing. Robin, amen. Thanks, Robin. What she does, or what I think Elaine's doing well, is she's talking about evidence that they couldn't get in. We couldn't get all this evidence in. But what she won't mention is the evidence that Depp couldn't get in, like her past arrest for domestic violence, for beating up her ex-wife, right? That wasn't able to come in, right? That she was arrested and had to go to court and spent the night in jail over that. So, this is disingenuous of her going on to GMA saying, oh, there's all this evidence we couldn't get in that would have proved it beyond a doubt. Well, there was a lot of evidence that would have proved that she was an abuser beyond a doubt, right? That wasn't let in.
Yeah.
He is so sorry. That didn't come in.
Is there any other way to interpret this verdict, though, that this jury, for whatever reason, and I hear you on some of the evidence that they didn't hear, listening to Amber Heard, did not believe a single word?
And that's because she was demonized here. A number of things were allowed in this court that should not have been allowed.
Don't want to judge under the bus.
It caused the jury to be confused. We weren't allowed to tell them about the UK judgment. So the damages is completely skewed. There are no damages. It stopped at November.
Yeah, see, that's the issue. Like, we weren't allowed to tell them that he lost in the UK because it's irrelevant to what's going on in Virginia, right? So he lost the UK case. So what, right?
Not only does it deal with different issues and different statements, it's in a different country, in a different jurisdiction, with a different legal system involving different parties.
Different defendant. It's like, I sued John, but now and lost. So you should tell this jury when I'm suing Amber that I lost to John. No, that's just not how that works. That's just not how that works. But again, this is her trying to spin it for her client.
For 2020, which is when the judgment came down in the UK.
Let me ask you about social media in this case. Unlike any celebrity case, certainly I've ever covered or ever seen, social media was a part of this.
Oh, yeah.
And it was incredibly lopsided and vitriolic against Amber Heard. Do you think that had an effect on the case?
Absolutely.
You think jurors were aware of it? They weren't supposed to be. They're admonished every single day. Don't look at it. Do you think they did see it?
How can you not? They went home every night. They have families. The families are on social media. We had a 10-day break in the middle because of the judicial conference. There's no way they couldn't have been influenced by it. And it was horrible. It really, really was lopsided. And I appreciate your saying that. It's like the Roman Colosseum, how they viewed this whole.
But I do want to stop it here and mention one thing. I think this is kind of disgraceful that she's trying to throw. Number one, she just threw the judge under the bus, right?
You
All this
that is
evidence came in.
bad form, especially seeing as how she is in that jurisdiction
Practicing. Yeah, the judge got everything wrong. And then now she's throwing the jury under the bus. The jury obviously violated their oath, right? Because that's what this would be. Violated their oath and did outside research. That's essentially what she's saying.
And now you're going to get 7 jurors coming out saying, we never did that. She's lying about that. You've defamed us. You know,
the jury.
This is insulting.
It is. It was insulting to people's intelligence. And I think it's insulting to our intelligence that we do we believe that everything just happened. Everything this woman's saying is just the judge is bad. The jury, it's like her and Amber are the same person, right?
Exactly.
It's everybody else's fault except Amber's. Let me knock down some of these super chats because this is crazy. Elaine speaks out at $1,000 per hour and speaks. She's trying to save her career. Yeah, I think out of all the attorneys that were on this trial, she was probably the worst. What do you think? Yeah, I think she was probably
There's no question.
Michael says the doubling down by the mainstream media is exactly why channels like yours are the future of news. Thank you. I think, even though I do think some of the media is doubling down, I think she's being pushed a little bit here by Savannah. She's in a nice way, but she's pushing her. She's just not letting the BS go. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's good. It's, especially in situations like this, you don't see a lot of that from the mainstream media.
We almost never see it. Here's some money since I probably can't afford you as a lawyer. Thank you, Maverick. And it's funny because most of my cases now are pro bono. So, my camera popped off. Let me turn it back on. But I can still read super chats. Nate, who was that $350,000 for? Well, that $350,000 was for Johnny because the cap is $350,000 for punitive damages. So the jury awarded $5 million. So by statute, they had to reduce it to $350,000. So that's why Johnny's went from 15 to a little over 10. I got in academic trouble during the pandemic and have been working to finish law school at Baylor Law ever since. Well, good luck, Zachary. Good luck. And becoming a lawyer is an endeavor in of itself, and I wish you good luck to it. Michael Clark, yes, Michael Clark says, "What's your opinion about courts not punishing overt perjury in family courts and attorneys that exploit this common fact?" What do you think about that? That's a good point.
In family courts, I think it should be punished in family courts. I mean, if it's in if you're lying in child custody, that's evil. That should be punished. If you're doing something to destroy families, yeah, but in general, just general civil trials and criminal trials, it happens so much. Yeah, I think people. Well, I think people got to understand too. In every criminal trial, right, when the defendant essentially says he's not guilty under oath, and he's really guilty, he's lying, right? He's lying, and it's difficult in this case because there's a public policy reason. While Amber Heard will probably not be prosecuted for perjury. And the public policy reason is that we don't want to quell other victims who may be wanting to come forward to think that, hey, since she went and told her story and now they found her to be lying or something not to be totally factual, that she goes to jail. Right. So you don't want to have other victims. Essentially, you don't want to have other victims feel like if their story is not 100% perfect, they go to jail. So what they do is say, okay, even though this person lied, obviously, we don't want that message to get out to people who may not be lying. So we're gonna overlook this one for the greater good. I don't agree with that policy, but I think that's the reason why here in places like New York and California, when things like this happen, they generally don't go after the person making a false claim. That and the courts are really busy and have other more important things to deal with, and they can't get bogged down with these things. But what you're saying is clearly the case in situations like this. Yeah. Thank you for the generous super chat. Let's continue on with the video.
Case. I was against cameras in the courtroom, and I went on record with that and had argued against it because of the sensitive nature of this. But it made it a zoo.
Does your client want to?
I'm gonna stop it.
Oh, absolutely. And she's
gonna. Well, we're talking about the appeal. So the cameras in the courtroom. What do you think about that?
Every trial everywhere on in the United States should be streamed on YouTube or some other source. Can you imagine what the discussion would be like today if that verdict came out and nobody knew what had gone on in that courtroom? No one knew the lies that Amber Heard had put out. Nobody knew the demonstrably false evidence that was put there. If you didn't know that, there would be riots in the streets today.
Yeah, because it would be, because they would be able to hide under the umbrella of secrecy. See, a lot of people don't realize too. I think Johnny Depp's a big actor, but you know who I think are bigger stars as of right now? The Kardashians. Would you agree the Kardashians are bigger stars than Johnny Depp?
Oh, sure.
And I'm talking about Kim Kardashian, I'm talking about the whole Kardashian family, right? If we took Kylie, the sister, they're all billionaires over there. They had a defamation trial while this one was going on. Yeah, they were sued by Blac Chyna, and essentially the defamation trial that they had was exactly the same thing. Blac Chyna was saying that Rob Kardashian beat her up. Rob Kardashian said no, it was the reverse. They had all this evidence to show that Blac Chyna not only beat Rob up, but put a gun to his head. And she said, I was joking. So she was the abuser in the relationship, but Rob. But the interesting part about this, no problem, Michael, you're definitely welcome. The issue about this, the Kardashian case, is when the Kardashians won, nobody knew any of the details behind it, right? Because it was all filtered through the media. So we didn't know exactly what happened. We didn't know the lies. Like, I had to go and actually read the court documents to see, oh, look at all these lies this woman had. Most regular people aren't going to do that. But in this case, you were able to see it because it was out there. So you have so people are saying that because it's a celebrity case, that's why I did. I think that it was because it was televised. And in this case, we know exactly why Johnny Depp won. In the Kardashian case, we don't know why they won, and it's not really as big a story as this one is, if you know what I mean.
Transparency is so important. You, I, and everybody else in the United States has a right to walk into any courtroom and see what's happening in there. We just don't have the access to it.
Yes, exactly. And I think this giving us the access to it, and us being the communicators to help people filter the information and understand what's going on. Let me play the rest of this video. We got a couple of minutes left in this.
Has some excellent grounds for it. We even had
What's her
tried
grounds
to
for
get the
appeal?
UK judgment in to dismiss his case because he already had his shot, and that's one of the issues. But also a number.
Hold on. So just to show you how crazy Elaine is, she says they're going to appeal and say that Johnny Depp already lost this lawsuit in the UK. But I need you guys to follow me logically. Amber Heard was not a defendant in the UK case, right? So let's say if she was a defendant in the UK case, and you go to the UK and you say, okay, well, he lost already in the UK. Then you may have an argument, but that argument still loses because it's a different jurisdiction, right? The UK is a different place. So I can, if you did something to me wrong, I can sue you in the UK, and if I don't get, I can come to the US and sue you here in the US, right? It doesn't, because it's separate sovereigns. It's what's called separate sovereigns. So what they're saying is that not that even she was a defendant in that case. What they're saying is because he sued the son, he shouldn't have been able to sue Amber, which makes absolutely no sense. It makes absolutely no sense for appeal. That appeal is laughed out of court. What do you think, Legal Vices?
Oh, bring it. I want to watch that one too. Well, I mean, that's not even going to make it to trial.
Yeah,
that wouldn't even, they wouldn't even get in the front door with that argument.
He lost against the son in the UK, so that means he can't sue Amber here. That's a ridiculous argument, but she's making it with a straight face too.
And other than her and maybe Rottenborn, I challenge you to find one other attorney on planet Earth that would agree with what she just said.
Ooh, that would be good.
Of the evidentiary issues, there was so much evidence that did not come in.
Is she able to pay a $10.4 million judgment?
Oh, no. Absolutely not.
Start seizing assets.
She's not able to pay the $10 million judgment. One thing I think is also critical to this whole thing too, from what you just said. Amber, hold on. Let me. I'm gonna rewind it just a little bit. Let me rewind it just a tad. Ronaldo, thank you for the $50. This is Elaine trying to pull double jeopardy with the UK case? Yes, dumbest statement ever. That's what we just said.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's trying to pull double jeopardy with the UK case, which again, I don't, Elaine, even though I'm assuming she's a great attorney, but this is ridiculous. Like double jeopardy when a case where she wasn't, it makes no legal sense. I'm going to play this back because I want to play this point one more time.
Oh no, absolutely not.
Let me run it back a little bit more.
Judgment.
Oh no, have not come in.
Is she able to pay a $10.4 million?
Sorry, reel it back a little bit more.
And that's one of the issues, but also a number of the evidentiary issues. There was so much evidence that did not come in.
Is she able?
Now, see, this is where when listening to her say that, what that means to me is that they're playing a secret evidence game, right? Mm-hmm. There was so much evidence that the judge wouldn't, so the judge is wrong. So much evidence that would have easily proved our case. The jury didn't get to consider the fact that he lost in the UK. So what she's doing is this is textbook litigating after you've lost.
Yeah.
Come out here, tell the people, and try to confuse you people about what really happened.
Yeah, I mean, especially the only reason it didn't, there's only two possible reasons why their mountain of evidence didn't get in. One, it doesn't exist, or two, the judge found a legal reason why it should not be admitted.
Yes.
I mean, if you have it and didn't even try to submit it, well, that's what we call malpractice.
Well, I'm hoping they don't have a malpractice issue going forward because there was a lot of mistakes made.
I started feeling about 5 days ago that she's what, 68? She's going to retire, and she is just setting the building on fire as she walks out. She doesn't give a crap what she says because she's not going to be held accountable for it. She's gone. That's my feeling.
Do you think she, all right, in taking this case, I don't know why Amber, look, I don't know why Elaine was on this case. I'm just going to say it. I was trying not to just say it, but I don't know why because it's obvious she wasn't that type of litigator. Do you know what I mean? Like when you can't, she couldn't even redirect her own client after she got smoked on cross-examination. So a lot of times when you're doing redirect, you just have to say on direct, on cross, you were asked this, right? And then you so you could direct. She couldn't get that out. And I was like, what?
If Elaine, I recall correctly, she got in 6 questions in 35 minutes during the redirect.
Unbelievably bad.
And when you're stopped and you are there in front of the judge, the jury, in the world, and you keep getting objected to, and you literally go, I'm trying here.
Yeah.
What, if any, that's
not
good.
What if any? But that's what I'm saying. That shows me that that's someone who doesn't have that litigation knowledge. That's someone who, she may be a great researcher, which happens to a lot of attorneys, but it kind of peeks behind and says she doesn't really have that litigation knowledge that you need to really handle the case like this. You know what I'm saying?
Rottenborn seems to have some. She doesn't really seem to have much, if any.
Yeah,
she may be the greatest transactional lawyer, contract drafter on planet Earth, but you don't put him in this situation.
Yeah. And it could be she's a partner and she knew this
case was going
to be and she probably knew this case was going to be a big case. This case is going to make it happen.
Are you saying she wanted her 15 minutes of fame? That's why she's involved in this?
Hell yeah, she wanted her 15 minutes. We all know she wanted her 15 minutes. But that's why the TMZ. That's true. And that's what the TMZ guys comment was so on point because we all know, right? Yeah. We all know. Let's finish off listening to Elaine's excuses.
To pay a $10.4 million judgment?
Oh no, absolutely
she can't pay that.
Finally, in closing arguments, Amber's team argued that this would send a message, that it would send a message that no matter what you do as an abuse victim, you always have to do more. You need to be perfect in order for people to believe you. If she did not get a favorable verdict, what message do you think this sends?
It's a horrible message. It's, as I said, a setback. It's a significant setback because that's exactly what it means. Unless you pull out your phone and you video your spouse or your significant other beating you, effectively, you won't be believed.
See, now this is the part that upsets me because that's what happened, right? The problem is that if you just look at this in a vacuum, it's great that she's saying this, but Amber says she was violently beaten to almost to death, right? He falls out. He's out. He's drunk. He's got ice cream all over his body. And she pulls up the camera, and instead of taking a picture of her face and all her bruises, like, look at this, she takes a picture of him, right? Sleeping. And you're like, well, why did you take a picture of all these violent bruises? And then she says, so listen, he beat me so bad, I had bruises everywhere. And then we see you in a backless dress at the premiere the next day.
The classic example of that was the broken bed incident.
Yeah.
Where he broke his bed because he was getting leverage and he chipped a piece of the wood off. Meanwhile, he's got his knee on her back. She's suffocating in the pillow. He's rabbit punching her in the back of the head, ripping out handfuls of hair. There's blood-soaked pillows. So you take a picture of a piece of wood laying on the floor and not the blood-soaked pillows.
Yeah. It's her story. The problem with I think Elaine and what they're trying to understand is Amber's story didn't even match Amber's story. Right? It didn't match Amber's story.
Yeah.
She said I was the first, and I remember she said the first assault happened in 2013. I'll never forget it. And then the next day, well, it actually happened in 2012.
Well, yeah.
I forgot.
and I know you're trying to burn through this, but this is my trigger point here too, is that this is a setback. That if you are going to make the assertions and allegations that Amber made, if you are trying to destroy a man, if you're trying to destroy his ability to work, if you're trying to destroy his ability to ever earn money again, if you're trying to destroy his family, if you're trying to destroy his reputation, I think you should be subjected to a high degree of proof and scrutiny.
Yes. No doubt about it. And the fact of the matter is that this case all comes down to, I don't care how many of you are here, I don't care who hears me say, this case came down to this. Are we going to treat allegations like convictions? And that's essentially, and I understand, the Me Too, the significance of the Me Too movement, and I do believe that it was a necessary thing to occur for people like Harvey Weinstein, where people weren't believing the allegations, right? People weren't taking the allegations seriously. Okay, I'm with you there. But that went from let's take them seriously and investigate them to no, let's treat them as actual truth and then penalize people without any type of due process. And that's what Johnny said in his statement. He was like, they're penalizing me because they're penalizing me without due process. It's usually innocent until proven guilty. Right now, it was essentially that's what this case was about. Johnny was deemed guilty and had to go on the court and say, I'm innocent, right? He had to go prove that he didn't. Think about that, people. Johnny Depp had to go on the court and prove he didn't sexually assault and beat his wife. How flipped is the burden of proof with that? Crazy. Here we go. Let's see how Elaine ends this wonderful, wonderful speech.
Elaine Charleston Bredehoft, thank you very much for your time this morning.
That's it. That's how she ends it. So, what do you think? What do you think about Elaine's nonsense?
Well, it's nonsense. I mean, that's just yeah. I don't get flustered and caught speechless very often, but the absurdity of that is unreal. And like I was saying at the beginning, this is exactly the opposite of what you want to do if you want to rehabilitate your client. Yeah. Somebody, as we talked about before, needs to have the serious come to Jesus meeting with Amber and go, this is what you do. You shut the F up. You sit down. You stay off social media. You apologize. You go talk to a shrink. You get help for this. You show society you are getting treatment for your issues, which you freaking know you have. Keep your mouth shut for about the next 5 years, and maybe we can get you in a Lifetime movie. Yes, movie of the week. Even though, to be honest with you, I don't think many people are going to be watching anything with Amber Heard. I think it's that bad. Where nobody's gonna be watching any movie with Amber Heard. So with that said, we have a couple more videos that I want to take care of. Let me get some super chats. So just so everybody knows what's coming up. So because this issue, Amber's team is trying to push this into a political arena, right? Making this a political issue. So let's see how they're covering it both on MSNBC, which is extremely left wing, and we'll see how they're covering on Fox, which is right wing. And so I got the videos queued up here for both sides. So we've seen Elaine try to spin it.
Now let's see how the news media, whether they're taking the bait, because essentially that's what they'd have to do. Either are the left wing media, are they taking the Me Too bait, or let me make sure. Yeah, so this one is MSNBC. So we are going to check out. So we got MSNBC up here, and we're going to go through their video and see how they're covering it. Let me get a couple of these super chats out the way so they don't get too backed up. The mainstream media doesn't have the public trust anymore. Facts. Indie content creators have an opportunity to carve a new path. This interview shows why we don't like the MSM. Yeah, because I would have pushed her a lot different on that interview. That interview would have gone a lot differently. Question: do you think the holdout hurt Amber, caused her unanimous $1 verdict for Depp? I think the holdout got her $2 million, because I think the message the jury sent was they're both bad, and we want to at least acknowledge that Amber was bad in some way. What do you think?
Yeah, exactly. I think you're exactly spot on.
Yeah, if I were JD, I'd donate the money to a B conservancy organization. I stepped on a B, huh? Thankfully, the legacy media is waning and not trusted. We all knew they would be trying to prop up the whole Me Too movement. Thanks to Johnny, we now have Men Too. Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. At what point does the media tour continue the defamation? That's what this is. That's what we're watching. Wow. She is really relying on the evidence was suppressed angle. Yes. when there was also a metric ton of evidence excluded on JD's side. Facts. Telling the evidence she names is more self-reporting by Amber, and that is true. It was all Amber Heard says this, and it's wild that her psychologist. Let me change this view. It was wild that her psychologist just took her view of everything and just said this is all true. I don't know.
Elaine, if you have the mountain of evidence, why didn't you bring a picture and say they didn't see this? They didn't see this. They didn't see this. They didn't see these gaping wounds on it.
Yeah, because that evidence doesn't exist. Can Elaine get in trouble with the judge for relitigating in the court of public opinion now at the review thing? No. Well, it all depends. There are rules of ethics. So she can't go and say the judge is corrupt and all that stuff. That's something she won't be able to say. But she can throw shade at the ruling. She can say, "Yeah, I disagree with some of the rulings." Yeah, I can. So it's that type of thing. But if the case was still ongoing, generally you couldn't do this. But since the case is over, she can still do this. But she has to be careful because litigation privilege wouldn't actually kick into this too. So she can't just go out there and start saying defamatory stuff. The same thing like JD's lawyer. Remember, JD's paying $2 million because his lawyer went out there and said some stuff. And if Elaine is not too careful, she may put Amber back in the crosshairs. Think about that, which would be interesting. Does winning a case in civil court mean the loser has to also pay the winner's lawyer's fees? No, in the United States, you pay your own fees unless the judge. But it's rare that happens. But it does happen. The op-ed didn't mention JD by name. It was proven to be inferred. Pour yourself a mega pint and sit down, Elaine. And I want to bring in my brother from another mother, potentially criminal.
Howdy, sir.
Hey, good morning, guys. How you doing?
Good morning. Legal Vices is pouring out a mega pint on us.
Gotta take the sedative to drop the blood pressure down a little bit more.
We're going over some.
Yeah, I saw that.
Responses. So what did you think about Elaine's video?
In trial, I get the idea. Like, look, you're going down in flames. You got to keep fighting. You got to do what you got to do. But her going in and saying all that in that interview with such a straight face, it just blows my mind. I mean, she really is as bad as we thought she was. I mean. And I don't know if she's, really good at research or as a, transactionally, but it's It's a movie I like. It's a Robert De Niro movie. It's called Ronin. It's from back in the 90s.
Yeah, I love Ronin.
Yeah, well, like,
yeah.
really, like, she's great in the film room, but she's awful when she puts her cleats on. I mean, that's what we know now. That's immediately what I thought of when I saw her today. It's like, just, and she sounds like, and Nate, I don't know if you've ever dealt with this, when people call you for like a criminal case, like, oh yeah, my uncle, he got railroaded and all this stuff happened. Yeah. And then you go look and Google it and it's like, yeah, no, it just, he got nuked. That's what happens. You're like, oh yeah, oh, it sounds horrible. And then you just,
yes, but.
Yeah.
Well, I think, well, as professionals, there's so many people that would come and say, this happened to me. And then you look at the facts and you're like, it's not what we were told, because everybody wants to tell the story in the best possible light. Yeah. But yeah, so it happens. It happens. It's crazy.
Well, that's why I think that I'm pretty sure, and I would stake a large chunk of money on the fact that Elaine's firm was not the first stop on the "Will you please take my case" wagon train.
Oh, sure. And I also don't blame Elaine, though. At the end of the day, it's like, wait, we can get 30% of how much? I understand she's going after the white whale here, but
but you know what? So she won't get anything. But so if they were taking this on contingency, they would get 30% of the two.
They would be stupid if they took this on contingency.
Well, I mean, how much money does Amber have, really, though? I mean, unless she had people backing her.
Oh, I checked the celebrity, the celebrity side that had the celebrity worth side or whatever. Apparently, she's worth about $10 million right now.
Yeah, but I wonder how much of that's
liquid.
Yeah, liquid probably not much.
So
if she's worth 10, she's probably like liquid, maybe 4 or maybe possibly 2. So that's going to be interesting. Let me take a couple of more super chats before we get to the next video. 2L here. First, I appreciate your commentary. Thank you. Super educational question. Are there any ethical violations here by her making these statements? If she's making false statements that she knows to be false, it's possible. But no, I think this is proper advocacy, even though we all believe it's BS. I think this is still proper advocacy. She's now but again, she's now in the realm of not protected speech under this litigation privilege. So she still has to be careful because she doesn't want to put her client back in a situation where it's like Waldman, right? Johnny Depp got to pay $2 million because Waldman was loose lips. So if she starts getting loose lips, then you may have the situation in reverse.
Yeah.
Elaine had the option of saying the verdict is a setback for women, or telling the truth that Amber is a big fat liar who got caught telling big fat lies. And that's essentially, but she doesn't want to throw a client in the butts, which I understand, but
yeah, you can't dog your person like that. And I mean, she's old enough, she can afford to retire, but like, you can't talk crap about your clients like that, because then nobody's going to want to hire you. You just can't do that.
Not. Is anybody going to want to hire her anymore at this point anyway?
Well,
well.
People with Alzheimer's.
Amber Heard set back the Me Too movement. I think that's true. Oh, yeah. Not the jury, not Johnny, not the lawyers. Amber lied. Amber abused. Amber defamed. It's past time for the mainstream media to start holding Amber responsible for Amber's actions. Well said, Kitty Kit Kat. Well said. I don't think anybody. I don't think anybody disagrees with that. This is Mike the Daddy Crosby. Crosby, not Cosby. I will block anyone who continues to follow these lawyers that watch and comment on trials. Oh, wait. What channel am I posting this super channel on? Sorry, my bad. Ignore what I said. Grin. Whatever. Crosby. So somebody was called, I think somebody called him Cosby. He was like, no, my name is Crosby. And Joel, before we get back to the video, Joel, this is the last super chat, and then I'll circle back, but it's the last one I'm going to read right now so we can take the other video. Just saw a Yahoo article titled Amber Heard verdict sends a message to black women everywhere. That was the root.
Yeah.
And I got to say, I was enticed by the pure cancer of it. You should have a look. We saw it last night on Natalie Loy's Chicks channel. Yeah. It's so, I hate calling things stupid, but it was so dumb.
Reading that article, it was the first time the words virtue signaling fell out of my lips in my entire life. And that was the most egregious virtue signaling art. Her name was Candace McNamara. That doesn't sound like the most people of color-y name. And it was like anytime you said women, you just parenthetically said, and black women especially.
But you know what that is? That's trying to. That shows you how left. And again, this issue. The issue that we have in the trial isn't left wing or right wing. It's just evidence versus facts. But I think what Amber Heard's team is trying to do is take a radical left wing approach, which is identity politics, right? That's essentially what they're trying to do. They're trying to say this is identity politics, and in doing so, we try to throw out Me Too. That didn't work. Let's try to throw in race to see if that works, right? You're throwing in all those identity politics to see what sticks, and right now it's just not sticking. That article, I think, was an attempt for black women would have no shot too, but nobody's buying that. So this is throw everything on the wall and see what sticks, and nothing is sticking to their detriment. But let us look at this video. All right, so this is MSNBC. Let's see how their coverage.
I'm sure this is
media coverage.
I'm sure this is going to be a scorcher.
Here we go.
Yes. Do you find that Mr. Depp has proven by clear and
inside
convincing
Putin's
evidence
involvement in the
that
Amber
Mr.
Heard
Depp
case?
acted in actual malice? Answer, yes.
Hours ago, the jury in the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard defamation trial announced its verdict, ruling in favor of Johnny Depp. Heard was found liable for defamation against Depp and ordered to pay $15 million in damages. But because of Virginia's cap on punitive damages, Depp will get closer to $10 million. Depp was also found liable for defamation against Heard, but the damages were considerably smaller.
Against John C. Depp II, we, the jury, award compensatory damages in the amount of $2 million.
As NBC legal analyst Katie Fang pointed out, while this trial turned into a circus, in part because of the celebrity status of Heard and Depp, the verdict will have real-world consequences for survivors.
Now, I'm going to stop it right there. This is them going into the BS again, right? A woman goes to the stand, lies to the world, says, this happened to me. A jury looks at the evidence and says, you're obviously lying, right? We all look at the evidence. She's obviously lying. The evidence is so overwhelming she's lying. And to say that, and for her to lose her case, hurts all women. Does that make sense?
No. no, it doesn't.
What I don't know what's up with my camera. My camera keeps bouncing off and on. I got to see what the hell's going on here. But it's wild because is this the only thing they got? Is it? It seems like this is the only thing they have.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But I also I don't blame them because for the longest time you could throw that card down on the table and it worked.
Oh yeah, that was a trump card.
And I don't think they realized that this is kind of like, I hate doing this because I'm a history dork, but it's like the end of the Battle of Waterloo. Like this is Napoleon's, this is the last gasp. This is like the swan song of Me Too. And this is really, it had already been descending. It had already been kind of falling apart. It had lost a lot of momentum. Things had been kind of wrapping up. And for Amber, it just drug out long enough that, screaming Me Too had no longer an effect.
Yes.
But that's the only cards they had to play. So yeah, you keep playing it, but they're trying to use Monopoly bucks while playing Uno. It just didn't work at this point.
Katie Fang joins us tonight, MSNBC host and legal contributor, and Liz Plank is here, author and MSNBC columnist. She co-hosts the amazing Man Enough podcast. Katie, let's start right there with your quote, real-world consequences for survivors.
Stop it.
What do you mean?
What?
Yeah. Liz Plank, I think she wrote an article recently that drove me nuts. She is full on into exactly what we've just been talking about. I know her name and I don't know which article it was from, but yeah, this is not going to be fair and balanced. I can guarantee you that right out the gate.
Let's see how MSNBC is giving it to us.
Well, the concept is that normally in a defamation case, it's just such a high burden when you're dealing with public figures. And so we definitely had
Sure.
two celebrity figures that were at war in court in this particular case. But they're both claiming to be survivors of domestic violence. They're both claiming to be survivors of a particularly violent, emotionally and physically abusive, tumultuous relationship. And so if you now have an outcome that we've seen today with not only the damages amounts that were awarded by the jury in this case, which frankly, Stephanie, were a little bit odd. The fact that originally the jury came out with a verdict form that was empty when it came to the number of damages. So it kind of makes you wonder, did they really contemplate the amount of damages truly? Because they came back very quickly later on with it. But when you have an outcome like you have today with the amount of damages, and you think about the fact that actual malice was found by a jury, the fact that a public figure was able to prove that on the other side acted with the knowledge that what they were saying was false. Well, now, has that now basically created a burden that has been lowered for people that are otherwise not going to be public figures? And you also have an attorney, frankly, who was found to be liable for doing something on behalf of a client. So there's a lot of ramifications that are coming from this particular verdict today.
What did you guys think about that take? Kind of neutral, roundabout.
I mean, that wasn't the worst of the takes ever.
No, I think it was actually pretty. It was pretty kind of straight. There's implications for this, implications for that, but it really wasn't. Let's hear the activist, because I think that's what we got coming up next.
And her.
I will say the one thing I just don't like is this idea. I can't believe I don't understand. Look, juries screw up all the time.
Yes.
I mean, those people are given. Imagine if I gave you just a handful of instructions to do something, and when you ask me a question, 90% of the time I tell you, read the instructions, that's all I can tell you. Or if you ask me, hey, there's a word in the instructions, what does that mean? Read the instructions. We don't understand what this means. Use your common sense understanding of the word. But we don't know what it means. You'll figure it out. That's how issues go with juries. So, no, I think they did fine. Maybe they deliberated and they forgot to fill it in. Who knows? But to blame the jury or poke fun or bring that up as an issue, I think that's, she's looking for something to find a fault in, and I think that's not fair to the jury.
Well, and if you're interested in where Liz Plank is coming, this is the article I was talking about. It's called, this is the title of the article, "No Matter Who Wins the Johnny Depp Amber Heard Trial, America Has Lost." The subtitle is, "I'm less interested in whether Amber Heard is a liar than in why so many people are invested in the idea that she might be." This is an article about she doesn't care whether Amber Heard is a liar. She wants to know why we care that Amber Heard might be a liar.
Oh, we definitely got to check. So you now you've poisoned us, because I'm like, so what's she gonna say? So all right, so
I'm sure this will be balanced.
This is gonna be fair and balanced. Oh, there was a super chat that came in for 50. I wanted to just acknowledge, but I've lost it, so I will definitely pick it up on the back end. My editor back there is just going through them all. All right, so let's see what she's got to say, because it's gonna be interesting to see. Matter of fact, you have you know what? Let me just play this, because
verdict was announced. Monica Lewinsky was thinking beyond the trial. She wrote a really compelling piece for Vanity Fair, and in it she writes, "It's the larger implications for our culture that concern me the most. The ways we have stoked the flames of misogyny, and separately, the celebrity circus." I mean, it's especially telling for Monica Lewinsky, someone who truly knows both of those issues, to write this. How seriously should we take her concerns?
But now, I understand where they want to go with this, right? Johnny's an evil man, blah, 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 right? Thank you for the mega pint. I appreciate it. Johnny's an evil man. But why are they trying to force it down our throats that a woman who is obviously lying about being sexually assaulted has this bigger impact on women who are telling the truth about these things, right? The message here is, if you lie, you get caught. If you're telling the truth, things will be all right, right? That's the message I'm taking out of it. Am I wrong, guys?
Sounds reasonable.
So far.
So let's see what this really means for Monica Lewinsky.
We should take them very seriously. And so much of this trial has felt like it's a peephole into the private lives of, wealthy and sort of out of touch celebrities. But it's really actually been much more of a mirror. It's reflected ourselves back at ourselves, right? We've been able to see where we're at as a society that, a society that is not just interested, but actually enjoys the humiliation of a woman in the way that we've seen it, not just happen on the internet, but even across conversations and the way that it's been portrayed in the media is very worrisome. The math just doesn't add up for people to take this on as their main,
That's because women
issue.
don't do math.
Women have a much higher likelihood of being a victim of domestic violence than an innocent man being accused of abuse that he did not do. It's not to say that it never happens, but it is very rare. And so this backlash that we're seeing, right? This backlash is not because women are equal. It's because they're dangerously close to being equal.
Hold on, let me rewind this back. Let me rewind this back.
This backlash just doesn't add up for people to take this on as their main, huge issue. Women have a much higher likelihood of being a victim of domestic violence than an innocent man being accused of abuse that he did not do. It's not to.
So you that part right there is scary to me, right? Because what she's saying is that because men are more likely to be abusers, we should almost presumptively consider men abusers. And because it's so rare that it happens the wrong way. But the Constitution and our system of governance is we'd rather let one innocent person go free than lock up 100, right? So the problem, which what I think she misses, is that when you evaluate the evidence, because that's what they're missing. When you evaluate the evidence, you come to a conclusion based on the evidence. And what she's saying is that the evidence shouldn't matter. Only thing that should matter is what the woman is saying, because we know it's rare that she's going to be lying. And I think that is absurd, because I think every situation is different and every situation has to be judged on its own merits, not this blanket we believe all the BS. What do you guys think?
Preach.
And
Preach.
It's, and I like how she tries to initially start that off by saying, society's really the bad guy here. The zeitgeist of watching celebrities tear each other apart. That's really us looking back at ourselves. And okay, great. Yeah. That sounds awesome for, some sort of morality play. But yes, then the idea of, look, guys normally do it, so we should only care that guys do it. And, it's really rare. Okay, this is one of those rare times. Like you're talking about, it's 1 in a million. Well, guess what? That one just hurt, that just occurred. So let's look at that one.
Well, that's straight in line with that article that I was talking about. It doesn't matter. I don't care that she's lying, but why do you care if she's lying?
Yeah. This is that article that you were talking about. Can you scroll down a little bit to the top?
Sure. Let me bring this up here. Yeah.
So it says, no matter who wins, the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, America has lost. So, so they're saying it doesn't even matter that she's lying.
No.
Yes.
Wow.
This is just one more step to the Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah. I'm less interested in whether Amber Heard is a liar and more interested in why so many people are invested in the idea she might be. She doesn't care if Amber Heard's lying. Why do you care?
Yeah.
Vince says, Nate, it's obvious she's trying to save her legal career. I think you're talking about Elaine. Yeah. This is bad. Eric Hunley says, hey, Nate and Eric for the win. Don't forget Nate and Eric. We're going to put the link in the description. It's our second channel for our reactions channel. Nate and Eric. Thank you, Eric Hunley. Eric Hunley's my partner for Nate and Eric. Link will be in the description if you guys want to check it out.
Well worth the watch, guys.
Let's
finish hearing why this is so bad for women.
Say that it never happens, but it is very rare. And so this backlash that we're seeing, right? This backlash is not because women are equal. it's because they're dangerously close to being equal. And that scares a lot of people. And so they're latching on to this case in a way that, really,
Here
again,
comes the
reveals where
patriarchy.
we're
It's
at,
right behind
when
you.
it comes to all of these issues. That yes, the Me Too movement
It's in the
has
house
been
with you. Run.
immensely and enormously impactful for women's rights. But we're still not there yet.
So
the patriarchy's calling, and they're in your house.
how do you spin this as non-equality for women, right? She was believed for like 5 years straight.
Yeah.
Right? She won the first case. Like, literally, this makes no sense, right? She came out with her allegations. Everybody believed her. He was fired. He was doing it. We believe her. Oh, we believe her.
Yeah.
Right? They went to a trial. The judge said, you know what? She lied under oath here. Don't worry about it. She's telling these people a lie. Don't worry about it. We still believe her, right?
Yeah.
Believe all women.
Yeah,
right?
and Johnny got his due process 5 years later.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
then 5 years later.
Yeah, no, this one wasn't rushed. Like, we literally took as long as you could possibly want to take.
Yeah.
And I've mentioned it before. I believed that what she was saying was probably more likely than not to have happened when the allegations were made. Because he's got the reputation for the drug use, the reputation for the alcohol abuse. And he's always kind of the I'm weird, incomprehensible Johnny. I could see him hauling off and beating somebody. But then as the evidence or lack thereof came out, I went, oh, yeah, she's clearly insane.
Also, she looks like Taylor Lorenz's sister. This lady, which, I guess makes sense for the way she's acting.
I'm just thinking this take brought to you by Visalign.
Let me move this so everybody can be seen.
Do we have a
above the
special
super
guest?
chat.
Again.
No, that's my thing. So when I pull up the super chats, you guys will be covered by the super chat.
That's how you know you've reached. You've arrived when you have to have the space holders down there. Too.
Yeah. You're gonna have to tell me how to do that for a rainy day in my future.
I just have another. I have it up on. You can either have it up on your phone or up on your another laptop, and just have it to the side there. So yeah. Okay. My editor's actually here too. So
when I get another couple 100,000 subscribers, I'll worry about
it. Let's continue on. We only have a couple of minutes left.
This has been a brutal 6 years, 6 weeks for the two of them. Katie, is it fair to say either or during this trial, Amber Heard has been silenced because both parties literally just had their day in court?
I don't think it's a fair statement to say that Amber Heard was silenced in any way. And recall also, Stephanie, there was a similar lawsuit brought by Johnny Depp in the United Kingdom where
Are we
he
still
lost,
watching MSNBC?
where
That sounds
he
rational.
sued the Sun tabloid for the same concept. And a judge in that case said, I find 12 separate incidents of domestic battery committed by you, Johnny Depp. The difference is you had it in front of a jury. And the court of public opinion, as I write in my piece, basically says, the court of public opinion crucified Amber Heard before this case was even brought to the jury to decide. And that's a critical kind of takeaway from this case as well. The fact that, according to Liz, and she's right, this people into this very sordid relationship that existed between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard was then well publicized, allowed a lot of the court of public opinion to weigh in. But I also want to say very, very quickly too, Stephanie, this op-ed was an op-ed. So another kind of huge legal ramification is the idea that you could have legal exposure when you write an opinion article in a paper, because normally that's protected First Amendment free speech. So now precedent now that you could go out and make this comment about another public figure and you could have legal exposure, and that is very slippery.
Well, they teach you again in law school. Generally, they tell you that it doesn't that opinions can't be defamatory, but that's honestly not true. Right. And not in all cases. So this actually doesn't change the game. Just because you say I'm putting it under an opinion, this is an op-ed, doesn't mean it's an opinion. Right. It's your opinion. But if you start saying facts like, hey, it's my opinion that that Kyle Rittenhouse is a convicted murderer. Well, that's defamatory. No matter just the fact that because that's the fact I said the opinion means nothing to the statements that I'm making. Yes. And I'm assuming that these are attorneys and they know better than saying this, but they're talking to an uninformed audience. So they can say this is going to change the game. But it's never been, the rule's never been because you say it's an opinion, then you can say whatever you want. No, even if you say it's an opinion, it still could be defamatory under certain circumstances.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I've been saying the past few days that, ironically or not ironically, or maybe that's the way it's meant to be, to call someone a mashed up floppy mackerel market or whatever he said would be a protected opinion, whereas this guy, you abuse me in this way, is not protected if it's a lie.
Yes.
Who said this? Because I want to hear that in real time.
Who said what?
The mashed up floppy mackerel market. Who made that? Who said that?
No, that was one of Johnny's texts.
Oh, that was. Oh,
yeah.
That's Johnny. That's.
I don't know if Nate wants that on.
Yeah, but I do think this comment from her though, where you've got to be careful what you say. Yeah, that's why she had a bunch of lawyers going over what she had. Like, no shit. That's how this works.
You got to be careful about what you're saying. Yes, that's exactly why we're here, because she wasn't careful and she said crazy stuff.
And her lawyers screwed up.
Yeah,
all those lawyers involved messed up.
An assertion. Opinion to an assertion is where you draw the line, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very slow.
Liz, this trial, it's fair to say, has taken on a life of its own. How did Johnny Depp now become sort of the face of this reactionary political movement?
Yeah. I mean, there's reports that, there's conservative outlets like the Daily Wire that have been pushing, the anti-Amber Heard hashtags. Today, the GOP Judiciary Committee, for some reason, tweeted a GIF of Johnny Depp, in Pirates of the Caribbean being this amazing, sort of glamorized man. And so it's very troubling, right? Like the pleasure with which we're humiliating Amber Heard is just as, I think, troubling as the glamorization of Johnny Depp in this.
It's almost crazy, because I think the only arguments they really have is, we know she's a lying piece of shit, but yet we shouldn't say that she's a lying piece of shit because it may hurt other women. Is that what you guys? That's the only thing I'm really getting from all this.
Yeah, I'm kind of getting that, but I also do think, there are some things that were cringe, like the Judiciary GOP Twitter account putting up, that was a bit cringe. Like, I get it, it's probably one of their interns or whatever, but still, you guys need to stay out of it. Don't go down, no, we don't need your help. But all the other people, I mean, people like to see somebody get vindicated.
Yes.
I mean, that's one of the biggest. That's one of the biggest narratives in our humanity. A good story is about, not revenge, but vindication. And, Johnny got his revenge. Amber came and, took Johnny out, and Johnny, rose from the ashes and took Amber back down and did it in front of the world, and did it so flawlessly. That's like the best kind of story out there.
It's fascinating that they want to turn this so political, because the fact is, Johnny Depp isn't right wing. Johnny Depp is an extreme leftist.
Yes,
an extreme leftist. So
he talked about wanting to assassinate Trump.
Yeah. So for them to now pretend that Johnny Depp is this right wing ultra conservative, and no. And the reason why people are backing, because the people in this chat and the people who've watched us aren't all ultra conservative people, right? These are, as a matter of fact, a lot of the people would have come and said, no, I'm not. I voted for Biden. I voted for Hillary, right? This is not about politics. This is about us looking at the evidence and saying, she's a liar.
Well, that's a good point. I've had this on my stream. I mean, even today, I got a couple of emails saying, everybody on LawTube is this right winger. I know the political affiliation of exactly one person, and I don't care, because it has nothing to do with it. It's as you said, it's the examination of the evidence. It's justice. It's what's right. It's what's wrong. It has nothing to do with political ramifications.
Yes, so Elaine picked this jury too. Can't believe she's throwing them under the bus. Yeah, she definitely did. Mm-hmm. She pees in a pod with Amber. I've lost any sympathy I had for her. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But Elaine, they cut Elaine a check. I suspect the real reason why they don't do what cameras is that it would expose the truth
Mm-hmm.
of how bad their case is. And that's what happened. That's why Elaine said, we didn't want cameras, but we want all the evidence out there, but we don't want cameras to show them. We want all the evidence because they want to filter out what people see and what people don't see. This quick $4.99, is it possible for Amber to appeal? Yes. And have a lighter court and have a higher court throughout the judgment against Johnny instead of vice versa. It's possible, but I don't think it's going to be likely.
You're better off buying a lottery ticket.
Yeah. For a couple of days, I almost felt sorry for her, but any ounce of sympathy for her has gone out the window. Yeah. I think we're talking about Elaine. Nate, if she did the YouTube thing, would you have her on your channel? Yes, I would definitely have, but I would be asking some really, really tough questions.
Yeah, I would love to have Amber.
Yeah, the questions would be difficult. Like it would
on
be
my
like
channel, not just have Amber, have her on my channel. Sorry.
Like, why don't you know what the hell hearsay is? For one thing, like she doesn't know what the hell hearsay is. Oh yeah, there would be some. She wouldn't come here because there would be tough questions. The questions would be brutal. I would essentially have her saying that Amber's a liar. it would just we'd be going through the evidence. It would
You're just not being productive, Nate. You're just not being productive.
If Amber told Johnny to tell the world he did it, he won. Boo-ha. Yes. That's the cold part about it. This is the last one I'll read before we're going back to the video. Love your work, Nate. What do you think will happen to Amber Heard if she files for bankruptcy? Punitive damages stay, so she's gonna have to pay $350,000 no matter what. I think they could, but I'm not sure the bankruptcy rules. I know in some places intentional torts aren't allowed. Some places they are. So, but I'm not a bankruptcy guy, so I don't know.
There's a good chance if she tries to do the bankruptcy thing, she still ends up owing $8.35 million. So
yeah, because it's an intentional tort too. So
that was my understanding, was because it was an intentional tort. You just can't say stuff, get a judgment, and then bankrupt out of it. Hell, if I can't bankrupt out of my law school student loan fees, she ain't getting out for this.
Yes. Well, and I will say, because I was talking with this to Rob last night, because he does bankruptcy law, and I know enough about bankruptcy to know that if you don't know it, you don't help somebody do it. But the amount of reports and oversight that bankruptcy trustees have when you're navigating through a bankruptcy is immense. Like you have to account for your money when you're spending money. Like you don't get to live lavishly. So her house in wherever in California, like she's not going to be, she's not drinking the $500 bottles of wine. She's not going to have all the fancy stuff. For somebody like Amber, that would just be another demeaning level of, suffering she has to go through. I don't think she'll go to bankruptcy. I mean, I think she'll ride this into the ground and just end up being, destitute and like
make her the manager of Hicksville Trailer Palace.
Yeah. I could see her being like Tanya Harding and be on Celebrity Boxing. Although, hey, Amber, I did some research for you, Amber. The average OnlyFans subscription is $7.20, so you only need 1 million simps for like 1 month. Yeah.
I would join.
You can do it, girl,
just to see it. I would join it just to see it. Like, oh, really? She's on OnlyFans? Let me give her my $7.
You'd be like, ooh, I didn't know she could do that. Yeah.
And I know it's going to a good cause because it's going to Johnny. So I know it's going to a good cause. Yeah. I'm generally against trials being held in the court of public opinion, especially criminal cases.
No, I disagree.
In this case, I think the court of public opinion was essential and more important than the actual court case. But I think all cases should be televised.
Even the small cases are essential.
As a citizen of wherever you live, you should see how your sausage is being made. Especially criminal cases. If you want to be tough on crime, you need to see what being tough on crime looks like. And wow, you may not like how these prosecutions and cases are done. Well, then maybe you should, maybe being tough on crime is not what you want. I think
Mike says, "Believe all women" was the worst catchphrase. It should be listen to all victims. I agree 100%.
Listen to all people. We don't know if they're victims until we listen to them and see what they have to offer.
That's actually
listening though is very ableist because they might not be able to speak.
No, that's true.
Just saying.
or listen or watch sign language. There we go.
So let me move to our friends at Fox News. Let's see what the Fox News people have to say, because now we see where MSNBC is going with this. MSNBC is going.
Johnny Depp is a great American.
Yeah. MSNBC is, what are they saying? They were saying, this is going to hurt women's rights. It's all going to be horrible. Yada yada yada.
Yes.
So
Nice flag background to start off with.
Yes. And with Johnny Depp, and with that said, buy gold. I don't know. They still shilling for gold on Fox News.
They still are shilling for gold. The economy's going bad. Here we go. Fox News.
The conclusion of the blockbuster defamation trial between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard did not disappoint. The jury finding that both Hollywood stars defamed one another, with Depp emerging as the big victor. Johnny Depp being awarded $15 million after jurors unanimously decided that Amber Heard libeled him with actual malice when she wrote the 2018 Washington Post op-ed identifying herself as a victim of domestic abuse. Heard racking up a win on her counterclaim, with the jury deciding she was defamed by Depp's agent, who called her abuse allegations a hoax. Heard's being awarded $2 million, but is calling the ruling a setback for women. Depp wasn't there to celebrate. He was too busy rocking out in London, but he did release a statement, quote, "False, very serious and criminal allegations were levied at me via the media, which triggered an endless barrage of hateful content.
He's right.
Although no charges were ever brought against me. It had already traveled around the world twice within a nanosecond, and it had a seismic impact on my life and my career. And 6 years later, the jury gave me my life back. I'm truly humbled."
Now, this I think is an important point, because people, I think, fail to realize this. This guy's been going through this for 6 years. Yeah. He was considered a wife beater. Today, right? Today's the first day that he can come out and say, "I wasn't. I got some. She's proven. I proved that she lied." So to make this seem like she was kind of raked over the coals for nothing, we believed her, right? She was believed, just like they're saying. And their issue is not that she was believed. Right, because Amber Heard was believed. People, they're trying to say Amber Heard wasn't believed. She was believed for 6 years. The issue was it was evaluated, and we found that it was bullshit. That's the big concern now.
Yeah, we're blessed on the 5 to have some sound legal minds here, people that have actually gone to law school. One was even a judge. So let's go to probably the most legitimate legal mind here, Jesse.
Yes.
Were you surprised by this verdict?
Oh, he's actually going.
I'm actually going to. He said, "Come to me last." He said, "Come to me last."
I have followed this trial so closely. Where to begin?
Well, remember what we talked about at the beginning, that how Depp was willing to risk his reputation as a drunk in order to erase the reputation of being an abuser. So he was willing to lay everything out there and say, "I will let you make fun of me for the pills and whatever, but I'm not an abuser." And that's what he did.
It's kind of like the Russia hoax with Trump.
Right.
You know, they come out, they smear you with false allegations, and you never get your reputation back.
No,
so you have to sue. And that's what the president likes to do. Very similar. I haven't followed this as closely as the Sussman trial, but
Well, I'd be happy to talk about that.
You would?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll bet you would.
We are talking
We'll get
about
there in a minute.
Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp used to be this great actor that could have any role he wanted to. He was this eclectic guy that did Edward Scissorhands and these oddball roles, but pulled it off really artistically. And then he hit pay dirt when he did these Disney films, you know, where he played the pirate, and that he was gold. He was a made man in Hollywood, and she came and destroyed his life and did something to a bed, I heard. Not really sure the details, but apparently she just got thrashed by his lawyers in court. And when you can afford good lawyers, they'll thrash your opponent. And that's what happens. And she was a very, very bad witness. And it looks like this was a correct judgment.
Yeah, she did not come off as
I just haven't seen 10 seconds of the trial.
They haven't. You know, the funny part about it is that I like how the tone here is different. The tone on all the other channels were, hey, you know, this is going to affect women, blah, 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 blah.
The hand wringing and the,
And this one is, it's a different tone. The tone is, hey, she was a bad witness. The evidence didn't support her, and this was a just verdict, right? So here they're steering right into evidence, facts, this. The other side is steering into what does it mean for some woman out there who may be thinking this, right? So it's interesting how they pick
Yeah.
the different ones. Emily Baker was on the CBS this morning. Okay.
Oh, cool.
Oh, I had to check that out. But we're gonna finish watching this.
I don't know if she probably couldn't even get the role playing herself in this trial at this point.
I feel like the jury to a lot of them did not ring.
Oh,
That's probably true.
unbreaded mofo.
Just imagine, nobody would go watch it. Amber Heard
we-
plays Amber Heard in
Who
The
are we going
Depp.
to choose to be Amber Heard? Amber Heard? Fuck no!
No. She'll kill our movie, and she lies. Oh my God.
True. What she was saying clearly
Fox
with this decision
News.
they've made, I got to tell you, all the things that we cover in the news, and a lot of it's inside baseball in Washington and New York and all these things. When I was with a bunch of friends in Nashville this weekend, this was the #1 topic at dinner. By the way, this was right after someone across the restaurant pointed to me and said, "Hey, look, it's Evil Shannon Bream."
Yes.
That actually happened at
It
a restaurant.
sticks.
But
as it should.
people were absorbed. They had watched this. You know, so many trials aren't televised, but they were, the consensus at the table was she was really manipulative and that they didn't buy it. And none of us had been big Johnny Depp fans before this started. But once I started to watch the testimony, I thought, if I was a juror, I haven't seen every minute of this, but I have real questions about what she's had to say. And now the jury apparently agreed. She now says, she's upset about this. And she says, I seem to have lost a right I thought I had as an American to speak freely and openly.
But that statement, that when she said that, the one thing, you don't have a right to defame anybody. Just don't. You don't have a right to defame anybody. And I think that's the problem that keeps coming up, because she's saying, I lost the right. You didn't lose a right. You
never had the
defamed
right.
somebody. Yeah, you never had the right to defame. And defamatory statements aren't protected speech. And that's the problem. And I think that people need to understand there is a difference between protected speech under the First Amendment and speech that's not protected. You can't just go out there and make up lies about people. That's not protected speech. Even though I think it's a good catchphrase for them now.
Well,
So,
I think.
he is not conceding anything.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, I was going to say that the First Amendment is, I mean, just by virtue of even being #1 on the amendment list, is one of the most precious things we have in law.
Yeah.
But it's also probably the most misunderstood. I mean, people say, you go on a Facebook or Twitter or YouTube or whatever. I have a First Amendment right, and if you don't want me on your platform, that's censorship. No, it's not. It's a private space. They can control. We don't know what freedom of speech means. We think we know what it means, and I think the vast majority of people don't truly understand what it is.
Yep. Because I think most people think when you say freedom of speech, that's freedom for me to say whatever I want, whenever I want, however I want, and that's just not. And that's not the case. That's not free speech. That's just speech, right? You just say whatever you want. Free speech is there are certain things you can't say. I can't threaten to kill people, right? I can't call in bomb threats. Like, there's certain things you can't say or you'll be held accountable. So there's a difference between free speech and protected speech, and I think hopefully people will understand what protected speech is not just because you can say it doesn't mean it is free speech.
Yeah, and well, okay, I'll go through it.
Well, she used the Me Too movement, and now she's betrayed the Me Too movement. You can't believe all women is basically what this case is saying. Judge, you were right from the beginning. I'm going to go ahead and say that. When we first covered this, you said, I don't believe that lady. Those were your words. Yes. And you turned out to be vindicated.
Sounds like us.
Yeah, like, I don't believe her. Like, his first thing you said, I don't believe that lady. Now she's vindicated. Judge, I like to hear Judge Janine, because she cut through all the BS.
Yes,
exactly.
Look, here's the bottom line.
Here's the
For
bottom
this
line.
woman to come out and say it's a setback for women, I think she needs to understand one thing.
Like
and
that.
is that what she did was harmful to real victims of domestic violence. And
Preach.
And I'm sorry for saying it again. I started the first domestic violence unit in the nation. I have dealt with battered women for 30
Don't
years.
be sorry.
As soon as she started, it was clear she was not the victim. She was the abuser. And Johnny Depp had lawyers who could take her on. This Camila Vasquez was right on target with her. The tape recordings where she said, Johnny, you going to be a baby? Are you going to tell everybody I didn't hit you hard enough? It was difficult for this man to make a decision to put his whole life on the table, but he had nothing to lose. And when they said to him, what have you lost as a result of what she did? He said nothing short of everything. And so she tried to promote herself as being part of the Me Too movement, that here I am, a woman who's being abused. And she said, you know, the defense was, we didn't know it was about Johnny Depp. Are you kidding? 2 years earlier, she tried to get a temporary restraining order against him, and it was in all the newspapers. But she was impossible to believe. And I would tell a jury as a judge, if you find that one witness has testified falsely with respect to one fact, you are free to disregard their entire testimony. This woman lied over and over again, and I feel free to say that on television. She lied. She was a liar. She was the abuser, and he was the victim. And let me just say one more thing.
Go ahead, Judge.
Damn!
This burden, which is not only proof that he was defamed, that she was talking about him, but that she was malicious. That jury had to really see right through her to say she was malicious. And they found for him 10 million compensatory, 5 million punitive damages. That's to punish you, Amber Heard.
Yeah.
For taking on this guy, destroying his life. So
Bring
you
it.
be part of the Me Too movement. Don't give me this stuff. You know, it's a setback for women. You do not represent women. You represent the worst of women who try to falsely blame men. And that's the end.
Boom!
How do you really
Judge
feel,
Janine ribbed her.
That's like mushroom cloud
Wow.
level stuff there. Holy crap.
Judge Janine totally ribbed her. And the funny thing is, I think everything she said was true, was honest.
Can't fault it.
That she literally said everything that was true. There's another friend, Eric Hunley from Eric and Nate. What's going on, Eric?
What's up? Nate and Eric, dude. Nate and Eric.
How did you, Nate and Eric? Hey, did you just watch Janine drop that bomb on us? What'd you think?
That she's a liar, and yeah, they're just reporting it accurately, and everybody's shocked.
So it's MSNBC, right?
Dang. Now she's gonna get charged with violence.
Good.
That was a beatdown.
Yeah, that was a beatdown. But it was all factual though. It was all factual, right? This is what it's about.
Well, I was watching your bit with Elaine earlier, and I'm just thinking that she's insulting everybody's intelligence.
Yes.
It's infuriating.
Yes. Oh yes. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Lawyers
And
win
she's-
zero prizes by throwing the bus and the jury under the bus. Zero prizes.
She threw the judge on the bus too. The judges don't know what she's doing. The jury don't know what they're doing. The people online don't know what they're doing.
But
Only
she is
person that
Amber's
knows what
lawyer.
They're doing is Amber Heard.
She's an older Amber. I mean, she's literally. I mean, remember, Amber said they're lying, they're lying, they're wrong, they're wrong. She doesn't internalize a single thing. Well, that sounds like Elaine, right?
Oh yeah.
Same person.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's truly scary that even when you're able to prove beyond doubt that somebody is lying about this stuff, that they can there's still going to be people out there saying that they are correct. It's just I'm a facts guy, and it's a shame that.
Well, that's your downfall right
Well,
there.
we have
You're
people
a
still
fact
supporting
guy.
Juicy.
That's true.
I
That's
mean,
true. We still got people supporting Juicy. Let's see what the next person on Fox is. This is actually the best recap of the whole thing, even though I don't think they've watched much of it. But Judge Janine, she said exactly what I've been saying.
End of it.
There you go. You know, Jessica, two-part question. Johnny Depp obviously was not there. Was that a dumb idea or a bold idea in the sense that maybe he was giving her, the big F you? You're stuck in Fairfax. I'm in London, and you're going to lose. And the second question is, should Joe Biden be impeached?
What?
Answer the first one. Second one.
She's the Democrat.
I'm going to not do that. I'm going to go with the first one and then say whatever I want.
Okay.
It was both a bold and a dumb idea at the same time. I thought that it didn't really have to do with sticking it to Amber Heard. He obviously his lawyers did that, and he did it through the entire trial by being so composed and so open and honest. And I wanted to add to what you were saying originally and what the judge pointed out. He didn't actually just lay it all bare. He talked about being abused by his mother and that his mother abused his father as well. And watching a man, and
Yes.
I hate for this to have to be gendered, but it is. We talk about domestic abuse all the time, and it's usually in the context of women, but it is so much harder for a man, especially a man with that kind of reputation, right? He's a heartthrob. He's Kate Moss on the stand, right? And then we're all going back and looking at pictures of them together.
So right.
To lay that out there. And it reminded me of when Terry Crews testified on Capitol Hill and talked about being abused. That is not easy. And I hope that makes us also more open to the considerations of how much abuse men actually endure in society, both physical and emotional and verbal abuse. So bold and stupid, because he had fans that were camped out at that trial. People remember that woman paying $30,000 every day. And I think that you show up and you say, thank you for supporting me and kind of completing the arc of the entire trial. But I was shocked. Obviously, I'm not a lawyer. This seemed much higher than I expected. Right. I thought that he was going to win. I did not know that it was going to be $15 million. And I will be interested to see what the first movie is that he gets cast in. You know, how quickly he's able to be rehabilitated.
Maybe a Fox Nation special or something like that.
I think that would be.
You know what? Yeah. It's funny because I give Fox News a lot of crap, but they seem a lot more reasonable in what they're saying versus what we just heard on MSNBC and the Today Show, right? It's kind of like even their leftist person is saying, you know, this is
not a left-right issue. It's not a left-right issue, and that's the issue. The problem you and I have talked about it, Nate. People keep trying to make it a right-wing thing or left or right-wing thing. You have left and right people here. They're just saying this is an issue between two people, and this is what happened. And who won? It has nothing to do with politics. It has everything to do with two people. One person lied and got the other one in trouble, essentially.
Yeah, essentially that's exactly what happened.
Amazing. Yeah, great trials of the past. I'm your host, Johnny Depp.
I love it.
Or Pirates. You could do a whole
Jack
thing on
Sparrow
Pirates.
for America.
I think we have the budget for it. You should see what they're paying me at Fox Nation.
I read about that.
Yeah, yes.
So I think they're closing up. We're going to watch the last 2 seconds. But so who do you think this question right now is going to be, who do you think did it better? Do you think it was MSNBC or Fox?
Clearly Fox. I mean,
Clearly
Fox is the only one who actually did it. I mean, you have to first meet the baseline, and then you can determine worth. But
I'm gonna go back and listen to Judge Janine's thing again. That was really good because she really kind of just laid it out. But that's why she used to be a judge.
Much like Mr. Depp.
That what she did was harmful to real victims of domestic violence. And I'm sorry for saying it again. I started the first domestic violence unit in the nation. I have dealt with battered women for 30 years. As soon as she started, it was clear she was not the victim. She was the abuser. And Johnny Depp had lawyers who could take her on. This Camila Vasquez was right on target with her. The tape recordings where she said, Johnny, you going to be a baby? Are you going to tell everybody I didn't hit you hard enough? It was difficult for this man to make a decision to put his whole life on the table, but he had nothing to lose. And when they said to him, what have you lost as a result of what she did? He said nothing short of everything. And so she tried to promote herself as being part of the Me Too movement, that here I am, a woman who's being abused. And she said, you know, the defense was, we didn't know if it was about Johnny Depp. Are you kidding? 2 years earlier, she tried to get a temporary restraining order against him, and it was in all the newspapers. But she was impossible to believe. And I would tell a jury as a judge, if you find that one witness has testified falsely with respect to one fact, you are free to disregard their entire testimony. This woman lied over and over again, and I feel free to say that on television. She lied. She was a liar. She was the abuser, and he was the victim. And let me just say one more thing. For him to take on this burden, which is not only proof that he was defamed, that she was talking about him, but that she was malicious, That jury had to really see right through her to say she was malicious. And they found for him 10 million compensatory, 5 million punitive damages. That's to punish you, Amber Heard.
Yeah.
For taking on this guy's life and destroying his life so you could be part of the Me Too movement. Don't give me this stuff, you know, it's a setback for women. You do not represent women. You represent the worst of women who try to falsely blame men. And that's...
You know what I want?
Yeah.
I want Judge Janine to interview Elaine.
Oh, that would be fantastic. Oh, that would be fantastic.
That would be fire. But as soon as Elaine would say something, to be like, no, I know, Judge. It would just be, that would be a bloodletting.
Oh my God. Well, you know, it's insane how I think everybody's trying to make this political, but it's not political. This is not a political issue. And I don't know why the left is making this political. No, don't get me wrong. I understand they want to preserve what's left of Me Too, because I do think Me Too has a place in our society, but I don't think it has a place to change the fact that we need to have some due process. Allegations alone don't mean the person did it. That means that somebody's making allegations, and we got to look further into it. And you can have an Amber Heard who just took advantage of it. She just said, I'm going to take advantage of it and just say he did it. And if they don't believe me, then you're a misogynist butthole who's killing who doesn't believe women. And that's essentially the story that they've made, right? She couldn't lose this case, essentially. If she wins, he's an abuser. If she loses, the world is misogynist and we got farther to go. It's a beautiful spin, right? To the way you can't lose, but it's not reality.
I've got an answer. Keep Me Too, drop believe her. And that solves it. Because Me Too is just saying, acknowledge that we're here. You know, it's like that old, I hate to, use a Reagan quote because it'll become political, but trust but verify. There's nothing wrong with that. It's like every claim should be thoroughly investigated, period. And it should be taken seriously. Absolutely. But that doesn't mean it's an automatic, charges are not convictions. They're charges.
Yeah. I mean, you shouldn't be default believing someone just because of their plumbing or whatever else. I mean, that's absurd.
That is just believe him because they essentially it's believe the gender. Don't believe the person, right? Believe the gender, which is ridiculous. So listen, gentlemen, I want to thank you guys for stopping by. I have a 12 o'clock hard deadline, so I'm gonna try to speed speed read through these super chats. If you guys are willing to stay, but this is gonna be a rapid fire. I'm gonna get through. I'm not gonna get through all of them, but I'm gonna get through a lot of them, and then I gotta head out at 12. So literally took
it's 12:30 a.m. here, and this is the first night in 2 weeks. I literally haven't had to stay awake all night, so I think I'm gonna get to sleep at a decent hour and remember what 7 hours of sleep feels like. But I mean, from here in Korea, Nate, thanks for having me on.
Thanks for having me.
You've had a few people that have subscribed to me. I deeply appreciate that. You're awesome. Everybody else is awesome, and we'll see you probably again in a few days somewhere.
Oh, I'll either be on your channel, you'll be on here. So we're definitely it's definitely gonna happen. Thanks again for stopping by. I really appreciate it.
Take care, gentlemen. We'll talk to y'all later.
Yeah, Nate, I'm gonna head out as well. Thanks for having me on, guys. Yeah, do like and subscribe to Nate and Eric. Although Eric and Nate, I think, works just as well. It actually is pretty good stuff. I've liked watching it. So have a nice day, guys.
And all my guest links are going to be in the description. Just it's going to say at Potentially Criminal, at Legal Vices. Just click on those links and it will take you directly to their channels. And the link for Nate and Eric will also be there. So let me speed read through these super chats. I do want to thank those super chats. I'm going to try to see if I can answer as many questions as possible. So let us get through them. So first, what appellate court would touch this case? I don't believe any, but they're going to have to review it because that seems like an appeal. She isn't broke. Elaine and Amber are two peas of the pod. Yes, but I think the appeals court will look at if she appeals. Jess says, I'm a DV survivor. I'm sorry to hear that. That's tough. What Elaine and Amber are doing is not helping us. Amber made herself spokesman. spokesperson. She's using us to hide behind and play the victim, and that's disgusting. Much love from the UK. Yes,
Agreed.
Jess, 110%. That's exactly what she's doing. There is more evidence from the team who at least twice submitted the same pictures. That's true. They did submit the same pictures. Took something from Eve Barlow as fact, which was manipulated. Appeared to have messed around in the discovery. Really, yes. But the thing is that these the news coverage you see aren't getting it. They're just giving you the 2-minute version of a 6-week trial, and they don't want to say she lost because she's a liar, right? Because that so they need to have the bigger point, right? If they're going to report this, they would just say she lost because she's a liar. But they can't say that because they understand that they're the people who watch them don't want to really maybe not want to hear that.
Lost. They could just say she lost. They don't even have to make a claim. They could just say the jury found this. Boom.
But it's easier to say she lost, but that means for women,
no,
not going to be believed. That's what they're portraying.
Right, but everything before the but is irrelevant because everything after the but is the message you want. It's like all they have to do. The reason why you like Fox is they reported it pretty much as it happened.
Yeah. And I think they're probably more factual. Look at the evidence. This is what we're saying. And I think Judge Janine, who's dealt with DV before, she can see the BS. And I think everybody here who's dealt with DV or have had any experience with it, can obviously see through. When I was at the DA's office, I had to deal with a couple of DV cases, and you see right through the nonsense. You're like, this woman's obviously lying. Thanks for the 50-50 Canadian, Nate, for the mega pint. I got a small pint, but I don't have a mega pint. I need a mega pint. Not to make this a race thing, but Amber's false accusations echo a strange fruit from the Jim Crow era. The Emmett Till, a lot of people are saying, which I can agree with. But one thing is I don't really want to analogize this to anything racial because that just plays into their hands, right? This. Yes, I think as a black male, we did suffer through the white woman make an allegation and the black guy in the 50s, the black guy is automatically guilty. And they were hung and all that stuff for that, right? But I don't think that's the case now. And I think this case, they want us talking like that. They want us saying, well, this, that, right? But this case isn't that. This case is a woman who happened to be white, who went and lied on her white husband, and he had evidence to prove that she's a liar. And she lost in court for those lies, right? I don't think race has anything to play with it. And I think if we start going down that road, we start playing into the hands of people who want to make it about that instead of what it is. Does that make sense, Eric?
Absolutely. I mean, it's anything, like I keep saying, they're trying to make it political. They're trying to make it this. They're trying to make it that. It's a case. It went to court. It was decided. I think it was decided fairly. The plaintiff proved their case.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Hi from Peru. Elaine could get in trouble. Could Elaine get in trouble for this interview? No, she can't.
I don't think so.
She's advocating for her client. And when you're advocating for a client,
wait a minute, it's Waldman's statements. Actually, we'll call them Elaine's statement. They had the Waldman statements, right?
We'll call them Elaine statements. Elaine Amber statements. The Amber Elaine statements. Can evidence be suppressed? And if so, why? It can be suppressed for many different reasons. It all depends. Hearsay, for instance, would be suppressed if it's not relevant. So there are rules.
Root of the poison tree.
Yeah, it really all depends. Thank you, Melissa, for the $10 super sticker, and to Legal Vitals. When do you sleep? He just left. He's about to go sleep now. Justice Thinking 1000. Another outcome of trial. I've not heard anyone discussing the trial. After watching H on the stand, my husband turned to me and told me how he feels, how he has a new appreciation for me since I've never treated him like Amber Heard treated JD. Thanks, Amber Heard.
That's a low bar.
You're a slacker guy. Thanks for the $10. But I think Johnny. All right, so I'm going to say this. I think Johnny liked the crazy. I think John.
Of course, you don't marry it though.
You
have fun with crazy. You don't marry him.
But let's put it in perspective. Johnny's one of those guys who I think he has a one appearance, but he loves the mania. Like he's somebody who smokes, who likes, like, that's the way he hangs out with Marilyn Manson. Like, he's
Paul
one of those
Bettany.
guys.
Yeah.
He's
a rock star.
Cool on the inside, but he likes to experiment. Like I would suspect he likes fast cars. He's that type of guy. And I think Amber gave him that type of excitement, and that's kind of got it trapped up. She's young, she's got the face, she's beautiful, but I don't think he signed up for that type of crazy. Right? He didn't sign up for that type of crazy.
He's a rock star. I'll give you an example. You know, Mick Jagger and David Bowie hooked up, right?
Yeah.
Well, there's a certain point where if they can have every woman in the world, pretty much everybody's available to them at any time, they're going for something different, something they haven't seen before. And yes, I think he was attracted to that crazy. That crazy was probably very exciting, sexually provocative, etc. But he married her.
He did. He put that hand up and said,
It's like, go for a rental, not for a purchase. Okay, guys?
And without a prenup. Johnny, without a prenup? You married her without a prenup? That's crazy. That's crazy. How could you marry her without a prenup? And you know she's a gold digger. He had to know she was a gold digger. Right?
By the way, there's 17,000 people who are watching this right now. Did you know that?
Oh, wow. No, I actually did.
17,000 folks. Did you know that Nate has another channel? It's called Nate and Eric. And I will happily promote it. Please head over to Nate and Eric. You can even go to nateanderic.com and it'll take you right to the channel. Consider subscribing, because if you like banter, especially if you like banter with Nate and this other guy, Eric, it's a great channel for you to check out.
Yes, let me put it on the screen so people can see it, and also add the link to the chat. Yeah, so we have we go through over viral videos. We look at this type of stuff and we try to make it entertaining. The link is in the chat for those of you who are interested. Just click that link and you can go watch some of our videos. Let me also do
more to come, and we don't always agree.
Oh no, damn sure we don't. But the great thing is that we have great conversations and we push each other. And if you don't want an echo chamber, this is where you need to be. So here's the channel, Nate and Eric. Link, I just threw it in the chat a couple of times. Should be the pinned comment. And and there's a whole bunch of videos. We have a video coming out today about this case. So go check it out if you guys are inclined to.
Also,
again,
thanks for watching. We like comments and suggestions. If there's something you want us to react to or to argue about, please let us know.
Oh, yes, definitely. Do you think Elaine just succumbed to the Amber Heard act? I think so. I think Elaine is doing what she thinks she needs to do to help her client.
I know Rottenborn's not out there doing it. I mean, there's a million ways to do it. You could just say, we don't think it was decided correctly. We are going to appeal it. We gave it a good effort. Congratulations to everyone involved. We don't think it's right. We're going to pursue this. Move on. Without doing this whole women everywhere can't do that. Making a case about everything except you.
That's true. Lethal Latin says media outlets saying split decision is moronic. Yeah, this was not a split decision. This was definitely a win for Johnny. I don't know how they're getting to this. Freddie says, question, has anyone tried to look at the proffers in the vacuum with the trial evidence and how or if that would have changed the verdict in their mind? But there's a problem with that, because the evidence is left out for multiple different reasons, right? So the reason why they leave out evidence is because sometimes it's just not reliable. Sometimes it's not authenticated, right? Sometimes you can say something that's total hearsay that has no, and they'll say we're keeping it out, but you'll say you should consider that, right? And then you also have to look at both sides, because not only proffer evidence, there's proffer evidence on the other side. I know my camera.
No, you're looking at for LGBTQ. That's excellent. Good, Nate. I like that. Hold the flag. That's awesome.
I got to keep it up there, but one thing that happens, especially with this trial, is that certain things couldn't come in that helped Amber, like the hurt Amber, like the fact that she was arrested for domestic violence and spent a night in jail. That never came in, right?
Or there's the problem where she may have had a vehicular manslaughter in her past, but she was a minor. You know,
the Australia audio tape. Right, where she's walking around, where she's saying that she cut his finger off, she didn't mean to do it, and they couldn't bring that in because it was hearsay, right? So if we're pretending there was evidence out there that would change your mind, I think there's just as much evidence that would keep this verdict even, that probably would even make it worse for Amber. Because I think if the jury heard that tape from the audio from Australia, first you hear what she tells you, and then you hear that audio, you know those are totally different events, which she says didn't happen. Yeah, the proffer evidence is good, but the reason why it wasn't let in, we just don't know.
By the way, on that split decision comment earlier, I have a quick answer for anyone who says they both win. Math is hard.
I think the mainstream media article headline is correct. The Depp Heard trial does harm to legit legit DV victims.
The people who are most pissed are DV victims.
Heard lies. Yeah.
They're the ones who are really pissed. I mean, I see comment after comment. It's like, I am a survivor. I've suffered this, whatever. I can't stand this woman, because they take it personally. That's half of the problem. Or no, that's actually the majority of the problem. Is well, you've dealt with this before. People who claim to have cancer to get money. This is a similar situation.
Oh yeah. This is exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. She played them, and and now we're here. Eleanor says, I'm a retired journalist. One of the best things about this is people now know that the mainstream media is biased, money-driven entertainment, not journalism that requires research and investigation. High-paid liars. Preach. You're preaching to the choir, Eleanor. Preach to the choir. Peter for 50 says, I would bet the first verdict form has Johnny amounts written down and nothing for Amber.
Could be.
Probably. Like we're not giving a nut if you're saying she won. It's time Amber Heard's bullying, controlling of JD stop. Yeah. Thanks for the generous super chat, Peter. I appreciate it. But I think you're right. I definitely think you're right. It's funny because like a lot of people keep saying the mountain of evidence.
Oh, they just keep repeating that over and over and over.
Evidence, but there wasn't a mountain of evidence, right?
Well, there was against her.
Yeah, I'm talking about for her.
Dude, you got to read fast. They're coming in faster than you can read them.
Oh yeah. We'll be good. I'm going through it, but don't forget, I got a hard deadline, so I think we got a good process going here, but I'm trying to get to them all. People, don't worry. We're going to touch as many as we can. What are the odds that Camille making partner? She's made partner. There's no way her billable hours are good because they've just had 6 weeks of trial, so she's probably made all her billables. She's probably going to get the big promotion.
She can start her own firm if she wants.
Yeah. Right now, who I should put that in the chat, the poll in the chat. Who would hire Camille right now if they could? Yeah, she's definitely making it. Into the poll. Poll says Fox News got it correct. Yeah. Camille's a rock star. Are Amber's lawyers obligated to continue to represent her after the trial? No, unless they are continuing to pay. But there are ethical rules about, you can't go out and say, oh, she was really guilty. You still got to keep your mouth shut about stuff because she was still your client. But you can. You're obligated to keep their secrets and keep, do all that stuff. But you're not obligated to go out there and continuously, help promote them. If not, yes. Why wouldn't they distance themselves from her, especially given their financial situation? Well, because I think they think she's going to appeal and she's going to continue to pay them to continue this thing to go. So I think that's the reason why she's going to continue to appeal. I literally don't know someone who hasn't had some form of falsity alleged against them. This has actually happened to me. I was in uniform when this happened to me, and so where are we at? There was a protest, and what they do is when there's a protest, they station you in different places. So sometimes, let's say if the hospital police needed backup, they would call us and we'd help them, and then the NYPD would come help us. So that's kind of the way we did it. And I was stationed at a place, and a woman comes in, and we had closed down the area. So I'm like, oh, ma'am, you can't come through there. So she's like, I need to go through there. I come through here. I'm like, listen, ma'am, the street's closed. You can't come through here because of the protest. She then goes and files a report against me that I said things to her about, I pushed her. I was making comments about her body and this. She was an attractive woman, so she just made it. So she said all this stuff. So I went up. I go up to the I go up, and next thing I know, I see this woman sitting there with her hand on her head, crying. So I'm like, they're like, yeah, you know, she's saying you did all this crazy stuff to her. So I'm like, what? I'm like, I just told her she couldn't come through. So she's giving a whole story, telling, you know, this whole, you know, I pushed her and all this other stuff. But she didn't know one thing. Right above us, there was a camera looking right down at us, watching everything we were doing. And then so she gives writes a full report about how bad I am. And then they said, oh, let's look at the cameras. So we bring.
I wish I could see her face when you did it. I hope she had to watch too.
Yeah, we watched them together.
And I love it.
The camera was there, and they saw me standing there. And, ma'am, you can't come. Her going all crazy, blah, 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 and then storming away. That's all they saw. And they said, ma'am, do you want to change your statement? And she said, yeah, I don't want to file a report.
And she's, by the way, it happened to you more recently, dude.
Yeah, online.
YouTuber
on here,
channel. Yeah, a YouTuber channel, somebody who lied about you and was trying to say some stuff.
Yeah. So
I'm not going to raise it up to give him any profile, but yeah, I've seen it happen to you myself.
Yeah, well, even here on the online, I don't even mind talking about it. On the online, a woman who I blocked on Twitter. So this woman who I blocked her, right? I said, I don't want to deal with you. I blocked her. I had 4 tweets to her and I blocked her. I don't want to talk to you anymore. Mm-hmm. She said, she then goes out and tells people that I harmed her so much that it became that it made her have an emotional breakdown. Yeah. And it was in
worse
some way,
than SA.
Worse than X. So I'm like, what? Like this. And so when people start talking about believe all women, it hits home to me because it shouldn't be believe a gender. It should be believe facts and evidence. And I've gotten caught up with this. So, it is what it is. I hate going too preachy, but essentially it's happened to me in my professional career when I was in law enforcement. It's happened to me here online. It just happened. So, I understand people need to be believed. People need to feel like their stories are being investigated honestly. But there are people who take advantage, and the people who take advantage need to be called out and need to be stopped, because Johnny Depp had to do 6 years of this. Most men out there, or even women out there who get false accusations, don't have Johnny Depp money to go sue to prove that they didn't do something. Don't have Johnny Depp money to do all that research. Don't have Johnny Depp money to do any of that stuff, right? You're screwed. Johnny Depp isn't. And that's because he had millions of dollars to pay those attorneys to make sure he wasn't screwed. Rick says, he took it down. Rick says, great analysis, Nate, and love your perspective. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Let me take down some more of these super chats. Again, I'm rushing through because I have a hard deadline, so I'm just trying to get through this before I have. What are the odds of community? Oh, we talked about this one. We saw this one. I was down here. Sorry. This is. No, Nate. Sounds pretty racist to me. I'm not sure what you're talking about, but if it does, I think I disagree. Obviously, because these people either don't care about that AH lied. All women must be believed at all times, no matter what. Just sick. Yeah, I think I do think that's sick. I think it's sick because if I said believe a man because he's a man, it would sound absurd, right? Doesn't that sound absurd? Believe men because they're men.
Sure.
So believe women because they're women should sound just as absurd.
It does. I mean, you believe anybody because of anything. Believe them because they have facts.
Yeah.
Because they have evidence. Because they have video. Because they have witnesses. There's a million reasons to believe people, but none of them is just a gender.
Yeah, and this nonsense that she has to have a videotaped evidence of everything that happens to her is lies, right? If somebody punches you in the face and you have a black eye, that's your evidence right there, right? You don't have to show the person punching you. You can say, no, look at it. Mm-hmm. The problem is she was saying, I got this. This is what happened to me. I was horribly beaten on Monday, and on Tuesday, Wolverine comes out and she has no injuries. That's her problem. Her problem isn't that nobody believed her. It was when you put what she was saying based to the evidence, they didn't match up. They just didn't match up. Feminism, avoid being dangerously close to equal. I'm a woman. You reflect my thoughts and opinions truer than those TV women representing female voices. It's not a gender issue. It is a truth issue. Well said. Well said. Lincoln says what she should have highlighted is that abusive people should be held accountable, even if they are women. Amber is clearly physically and emotionally abusive, and that and other relationships. Amen to that.
You know, I wish for women who all want to say just believe her no matter what. I wish for them all to have a son.
Good point.
Because I'll tell you what, when their child gets that same kind of accusation, suddenly that same woman will say, oh, hell no. Don't believe that bitch.
Yeah. Yeah. Then you'll know what it means. Then you'll know what it means. Why you can't just believe anything someone says, no matter what their gender is. I love how being invested in this trial. I love how being invested in this trial equals harmful to me too. But being caught on tape saying that no one will believe you were abused because you're a man is not. It's so crazy, right? It's so crazy that just imagine if that tape was Johnny Depp saying that to his wife. Nobody's going to believe you. Nobody's going to believe that you're beaten.
Yeah.
There would be no question, right? He's guilty and throw him under the jail.
But she says very difficult for a male to be a victim. Very difficult.
But if she says it, not only is she not a victim, we're wrong for not believing her. Crazy. AH lied. She hurt people. She hurt more people than JD. To not care if AH lied means she doesn't actually care about equality. Victims and abuse have no gender. That is so true. Victims are, gender should not equate. Now, the argument that they made earlier, which I think was interesting, is that generally in domestic violence situations, women are going to be more likely the victim of a domestic violence situation than men. That's true in a majority of cases. But that doesn't mean that women won't be the abusers themselves, right? Just because it happens the opposite way doesn't mean it can't happen. And I think this case illustrates that. Amber Heard is a serial abuser.
Right.
Think about that. She abuses her sister. She abused her other partner in her former relationship. And she abused Johnny Depp. That is what this is about.
Very true.
Senor says, LOL.
This isn't political at all.
This isn't political. This isn't political at all. Johnny is a leftist.
Yep.
This is just about a man getting justice. And yes, Johnny is a leftist. And you're right.
If you want to know Johnny's political opinions, just look up Isaac Baruch's art.
Yes.
You'll know. You will know.
Ironically, the backlash Amber Heard is receiving online.
Yeah, it is.
Literally, social justice. Yes.
Good play.
I started late. Please don't poke fun at anyone's appearance. Who?
Oh, I didn't. Oh, I don't know.
Especially at the discussion of Elaine Brady here. Oh, when I think Legal Vices said that he didn't like her haircut. Some people say they don't like my hair. I don't think it was that big of a thing.
I can't talk about hair, folks.
Yeah.
Mine ran off from me.
Yeah. Those digs are ingrained in us, but also limit the impact of your words.
Sure.
That's fair. That's fair, Al. So, but I try not to do it. But sometimes if somebody's wearing something, doing something crazy, I'll say, yeah, I don't like that. But your point is well taken, and I'll be more cautious in the future for my own sake. But like I guess they have free reign. They can comment on the way they want, but I'll be more attentive to it. Thank you. And thank you for your super chat. You're right. It is non-political. Yes. I think most people realize that these things are non-political, but I think unfortunately the media wants to make them more non-political. Joseph says, I know JD is a raging leftist. This is about a man getting justice. She lied. Women shouldn't just be believed. Investigate. So true. Media refuses to understand people hate the elite. Sitting in a closet, this is the verdict made it illegal for women to post their opinions online. I need to go back to the kitchen. Oh no, really? You think that means that they got to go back to the kitchen? Can you do a poll that this is not political? All right, well, now I'm super
Well, in
fast reading
another
super
show,
chat,
we
so I
should.
can't do it. Yeah, we should definitely do that. Peter says for $20, I mean, Johnny Depp thought Heard's OnlyFans was worth $7 million.
Did you notice somebody broke it down that they essentially awarded Johnny Depp a refund on his divorce settlement?
Yeah, that's what I've been saying. They literally just said, "Here's your money back plus an extra mil," because she was crazy. Steph says, "Abuse survivor here. Amber Heard's testimony made me sick.
Mm-hmm.
I have 3 boys. I pray never tangle with a psycho because Me Too does have enough accountability."
Yeah.
It's scary. It's scary. The real victims, we don't even heart. It's
Here.
a show. Oh, here. Sorry, I thought that was a T. Oh yeah, sorry. Here, it's a show. This case is something I follow closely as someone who has been falsely accused twice. Hey, join the club, brother. Thankfully, remember I was accused of a woman who I'd never been in the same room with, right? A woman who's never been in the same state as me. Accused me of something. And it's like, So yeah, so it's crazy. Thankfully, they cracked and told the truth when those close to them were getting the cops involved. Yeah, and it's a shame, but sometimes. Will you watch Emily Baker on CBS This Morning interview? I will. A couple of people told me that. I watched her. She was on an LA show that's got like 1 million things. Emily Baker's everywhere. She's blowing up. She's blowing up. So, but yeah, no, Emily is fantastic. I got to check it out, but I'm not going to watch it now. I am going to going to see if I can get through some of these super chats, and then we're going to get out. I got to get out of here. So it's 12 o'clock. So I got a hard deadline. If you're sending in more super chats, I might not be able to get to them, but I definitely have to because I have to go. I have a hard deadline. So this is super rapid fire. This is essentially going to be reading 1, maybe 2-word answers and going to the next one.
And go to Nate and Eric, and you can catch up on other stuff.
Yeah,
when this is done.
We get to go to Nate and Eric because we have some more videos. We have another video about this thing coming out today. So check it out.
Yep.
Too many people believe the Constitution and all its amendments give everyone certain rights. They don't understand that what it really does is limit how the government can infringe on those rights. Yes. And a civil matter, it's in civilly, a lot of people don't understand the freedom of speech is against the government stopping you from speaking, not individuals. But obviously, there's a lot of nuance to that. But I think you're right. I think people think their rights are absolute, and they're not. There are limits to all the rights. Nice mic drop. Apply accusations to Mr. 45, please. Yeah, I like that. Can Johnny get? But it's actually 45 and 46 because they both have it. Can Johnny get an injunction to keep her and her representatives from continuing to defame? Yes, that happened in a Cardi B case. They actually did get an injunction to stop Tasha K from continuing to make defamatory statements. So yeah, so that possibly can happen. Nate, the Elaine interview is play to collateral estoppel. Tug, yes, but you don't get collateral estoppel because it doesn't matter. Amber Heard was not a defendant in the UK case, so there's no collateral estoppel. Tug will tell you about their motion on that. That is the only appeal avenue open as I see it. It just doesn't, because that collateral estoppel is if it's the same defendant, right? It's the same issues against a different defendant. You don't have collateral estoppel. I'm a survivor. I have dealt with someone with BPD. I thought Amber Heard had BPD from the start, and that chaos is hard to understand if you haven't experienced it. I feel for Johnny. He went through hell. Yeah. Oh yeah. I think we all know. We all recognize he went through hell. We all recognize he went through hell. So at this point, guys, I unfortunately have to go. I'm going to just take out. We don't deserve you, Nate and crew. Thank you so much, Drew. Holy crap! DUI guy put his notes on eBay. Current bid is above $11 million. What?
I'm sure it's a pledge, folks. It's a pledge.
It's a pledge. It's a pledge. Well, maybe DUI guy may get millions for his notes. If you told me you had Johnny's notes, now we're talking.
Nate, his art. He's drawing every day. He could probably sell them.
Nate, can she raise and sell alpacas to pay off the $8 million plus settlement? Possibly. I'm not sure. I sell for a buck for, I think that's 150 something. I'm not sure, but I'm still going to read it. If there really are mountains of evidence, let me make this bigger. Amber Heard should vomit it all out in the media. Yeah, put it all out. Nothing stopping her. Zero respect for Elaine at this point, too. Yeah. She should definitely put out. She has all this evidence. Put it out. Have you seen the statements? Yes. The Roots saying the verdict hurts black women. Yeah, we went over that. They're ridiculous. Isn't it misleading for Elaine to say that Amber won the UK case? Yes. Because she did. Yes, 100%. Amber Heard wasn't party to the case. Yes. Johnny sued the Sun. Yes. Also, didn't the Sun only have to show they didn't know the article was a lie to win? Yes. Essentially that's what they had to show, but the court went further and said that Johnny did all the. He said that Johnny, even the part where Johnny cut off his finger, they said that he abused her in that situation. That judgment does not square with the facts that as we know them to be true. I don't think JD will make Amber pay him. He looked really sad when she was talking about the threats being made to her. I think those threats are real. I think that's really happening to her. But I think the problem is that no one's feeling sorry for her. No one's feeling sorry for her. And that's because, thanks, Britt. That's because when someone's obviously lying to you, it's you know what I mean? It's
she started it.
Lying.
She brought it up. If she was on her own and people were picking on her, I'd say leave her alone. If she never did any of this, it'd be like, leave this woman alone. But she's the one who put herself out there. She's the one that put him out there. She brought this forth.
Yes,
it's on her.
Yes, it's insane. It's insane. But again, it's not believe. I don't think it's believe all women anymore. Believe facts and evidence. That's what we need to believe. Believe facts. Anybody can say anything. Not everybody can prove what they're saying. It's awesome. Trio Monkey. It's awesome seeing good people like yourself grow despite the haters. That harassment campaign is having arrests now. It doesn't play to be a dishonest grifter. Keep spreading the love and truth. Yeah, thank you, Trio Monkey. Trio Monkey's talking about the false accusations. But to be fair, the woman did retract the false accusations. So let's be fair. She said that, she was in a bad space when she made them and she was lying and all that stuff. So, I've forgiven her. So I don't want to go back there. But and I don't want to kick anybody when they're down. When somebody comes out and says, I made false accusations, I'm sorry. No harm, no foul. No harm, no foul. But Johnny, there was harm. So there was a foul. He needed to make that happen. Fox and others tend to slant to what works for them. The fact that Fox got this one right is an example of even a broken watch is right twice a day. That is why I don't trust the mainstream. We want facts and evidence. Yeah. Oh yeah. That's why, as you notice on this channel, we watch both. We watch both Fox News and we watch MSNBC because they could have got it right too. So we don't assume. And that's what I do. I watch both the extreme right and the extreme left. And you do see sometimes one side gets the story better than the other side, but that doesn't mean they both don't spin stories for their own purposes. So this is the last super chat. Mega pint for Nate and Eric. Thanks for the great coverage and dialogue. Thank you so much. And thank you, Dollar. So at the end of the day, we watched the land. We've watched the news media split. So let me know in the comment section how you guys feel. Don't forget, Nate and Eric, if you guys have a second, follow us to the Nate and Eric channel. The link is in the description and right now in the chat. I'm going to spam the chat with the link. So if you guys want to check out me and Eric on this channel, we go over common memes, things you can see, stuff that's on the channel now. We have a lot of fun. And just check it out if you enjoy it. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and do all that great YouTube stuff if you go over there. My name is Nate the Lawyer. This is my buddy Eric Hunley. And after the day, we will say thank you. TYT Anakin Experience said that the verdict was just.
Oh, that's a mic drop. Okay. Broken clock. She's right there.
Later, people.
See ya. He didn't in the broadcast.